how they actually perform in this map before we even get our way into Erangel. Where inside of Erangel, I think this is where they will feel more comfortable into playing, and when it comes down to the execution of how they move around the map, it really relies on how they actually do it within their own timing as well to be able to reap as much rewards in return. So I'm just looking forward. Tago definitely is going to be that game changer for all these teams.
Yeah, I realized as well, AAA, no placement points at all, but 11 kills.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? So they are number 9 earlier on. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. At the end of the day, it's not about what rank you're at this point. It's about what are the points collected and how far are you from the number 1 team. As long as you can still keep a close enough race, points-wise, putting aside the ranks, anything can still happen up until the last game.
That's true. Like, if you're winning at the very least 2 battles against those squads that are in contention, you automatically win at the very least 7 to 8 points. And if you consistently put each one of all these maps after maps of collection of these points, it still adds up to a whole lot more. So really, with this super rule that it's being implemented, I just absolutely love how fast-paced and how competitive it can get until the very final day, where I believe there's going to be a close race for multiple teams to be able to achieve the champion title.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see a close race until the last game, right? Rather than, one team is already like 50 points ahead by the last game, and the last game, well, doesn't really matter when it comes to crowning the champion, except for like, you want to know who else is getting what kind of prize pool by the end of the day. So if we can keep that race up until the last game, I think that'll be nice, and I do expect to see that as well, considering that at least we got round 1, round 2 as a benchmark comparison, right? But anyway, we're going to compare more numbers, more benchmarkings as we go along the game. But before that, we'll be taking a little bit of a short break, ladies and gentlemen, so don't go anywhere. My name is Sir Cloud, together with the wonderful Contra. We'll be seeing you after this.
Welcome to the Update 23.2, where you can now revive your teammates, transport knocked out allies onto vehicles, and engage in a new social feature, the clan system. Let's dive right in. First on the menu is the brand new revival system. To reduce frustration during squad play and promote diverse strategies in normal matches, you will now be able to revive your fallen teammates. Just retrieve the blue chip from their death boxes and register it at one of the transmission towers scattered across the map, or through a wireless transmitter item obtained through farming. They can then rejoin the match via a respawn plane that flies once per phase. Note that this feature is available only in normal and custom matches on Erangel, Miramar, and Destiny. Next, we're introducing a new DBNO feature, allowing you to carry knocked out teammates and place them inside vehicles. This addition provides players with an alternative way to evade danger without having to only abandon or revive your teammates. We are also finally ready to unveil our new clan system. Create or join a clan, play matches, and earn XP to level up your clan. As your clan levels up, you will be able to upgrade your clan tags. Not only that, but you can also earn a BP boost by playing with your clanmates. Definitely worth. And as always, make sure to check out the patch notes for all the details. Update 23.2 has plenty more in store this month, including a DBNO rebalance, general lobby UX UI improvements, a slight buff to the Ace32, and more. Starting with this update, prepare to become your team's hero, transport teammates to safety, and establish your own PUBG Battlegrounds clan for double the excitement. And we'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
Ini urgent mungkin bisa disampaikan ke Bapak. Jadi kalau Bapak punya model-model buku PDF yang istilahnya dari yang sudah ada ISBN-nya atau ISSN-nya atau apa itu, kalau boleh kirimkan email Bu.
The latest
Kayaknya
game from
enggak
Krafton
dulu,
and
karena kan
5 Min
harus
Lab.
terlegalisir kalau itu
Fast
memang
pace
sudah
and
publish
full
kan.
intense PvP action brawler game.
Iya. Ya, misalkan dari Indotech atau dari mana. Dari
Use your best
Blizzard
combo
atau
to
apa.
send your opponent to the lobby.
Nah, mungkin bisa di apa namanya, cek setting saya. tadi.
Select your legends and be the winner.
Apa namanya, saya apa namanya, bisa dibaca.
Pick the mode that suit your fighting style. From 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store, and Steam.
Terima kasih, Bu, ya. Ya, ya.
Let's be legends today!
Welcome to the update 23.2, where you can now revive your teammates, transport knocked out allies onto vehicles, and engage in a new social feature, the clan system. Let's dive right in. First on the menu is the brand new revival system. To reduce frustration during squad play and promote diverse strategies in normal matches, you will now be able to revive your fallen teammates. Just retrieve the blue chip from their death boxes and register it at one of the transmission towers scattered across the map, or through a wireless transmitter item obtained through farming. They can then rejoin the match via a respawn plane that flies once per phase. Note that this feature is available only in normal and custom matches on Erangel, Miramar, and Destin. Next, we're introducing a new DBNO feature, allowing you to carry knocked out teammates and place them inside vehicles. This addition provides players with an alternative way to evade danger without having to only abandon or revive your teammates. We are also finally ready to unveil our new clan system. Create or join a clan, play matches, and earn XP to level up your clan. As your clan levels up, you will be able to upgrade your clan tags. Not only that, but you can also earn a BP boost by playing with your clanmates. Definitely worth. And as always, make sure to check out the patch notes for all the details. Update 23.2 has plenty more in store this month, including a DBNO rebalance, general lobby UX UI improvements, a slight buff to the Ace32, and more. Starting with this update, prepare to become your team's hero, transport teammates to safety, and establish your own PUBG Battlegrounds clan for double the excitement. And we'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
The latest game from Krafton and 5 Min Lab. Fast pace and full intense PvP action brawler game. Use your best combo to send your opponent to the lobby. Select your legends and be the winner. Pick the mode that suits your fighting style. From 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store, and Steam. Let's be legends today!
Welcome to the update 23.2, where you can now revive your teammates, transport knocked out allies onto vehicles, and engage in a new social feature, the clan system. Let's dive right in. First on the menu is the brand new revival system. To reduce frustration during squad play and promote diverse strategies in normal matches, you will now be able to revive your fallen teammates. Just retrieve the blue chip from their death boxes and register it at one of the transmission towers scattered across the map, or through a wireless transmitter item obtained through farming. They can then rejoin the match via a respawn plane that flies once per phase. Note that this feature is available only in normal and custom matches on Erangel, Miramar, and Destin. Next, we're introducing a new DBNO feature, allowing you to carry knocked out teammates and place them inside vehicles. This addition provides players with an alternative way to evade danger without having to only abandon or revive your teammates. We are also finally ready to unveil our new clan system. Create or join a clan, play matches, and earn XP to level up your clan. As your clan levels up, you will be able to upgrade your clan tags. Not only that, but you can also earn a BP boost by playing with your clanmates. Definitely worth. And as always, make sure to check out the patch notes for all the details. Update 23.2 has plenty more in store this month, including a DBNO rebalance, general lobby UX UI improvements, a slight buff to the Ace32, and more. Starting with this update, prepare to become your team's hero, transport teammates to safety, and establish your own PUBG Battlegrounds clan for double the excitement. And we'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
And back to you, audience. That's what we normally hear. Welcome back to the PUBG Asia Super Cup 2023 Summer. Together with me, Sir Cloud, as well as the amazing Contra with me. And
Amazing.
Yeah. Are you amazed that you're gonna cast the first Tego for yourself after this?
I would say I'm ready to be impressed by some of all these teams, but those were amazing rounds back in Miramar, I would say, where we've got a lot of action going on all across each phases of the game. And I think like now with Tego being a little bit more compact of a space for them to play with, expect a little bit more out of all these teams to be locking horns very early on as well.
I'm not gonna lie, Tego is now my favorite map of all.
Tell me why.
Yeah, just because of, well, one thing is a small map, so there's always a lot of action that can happen very, very early. Number two is that it's still a map that is unknown, not as known in the professional scene. So you don't know what to expect really inside Tego. And inside of Tego as well, you have, like it's a mini Erangel, I would say. It's not a mini Sanhok, but it's a mini Erangel that I think is fairly balanced of the amount of land versus water ratio. So I think this is a balanced small map, even as compared to Sanhok.
Yeah, and overall, this also gives them a lot of opportunities to actually accrue as much points as possible. Archangel Predator especially, we see them really popping off in match number 2, and now given the option to actually play close quarter combat, this is a team that have been able to boast numbers when they do have the chance to do so. Early on, back in Miramar, we see them playing on open terrains for most part, so I want to see them going up against all these top dogs right now. And Q-Confirm is also another team that have been consistently proving records with, at the very least, an average of 6 eliminations per round.
Yeah, average of 6, right? I mean, that is actually a good number if you talk about average at the end of the day. So looking forward to see like teams like E-Arena, whether they can do better in this round or not, because again, it's a round where I call this like the Pandora's box round, whereby you don't know what's in it. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and overall, with a lot of all these options for them to locate themselves into certain territories. We are looking at certain areas across the northwestern corner to have a lot of options available. But if you were to be locking yourself into that island itself, there's only a few alternatives for you to cross a couple of all these bridges. You don't want to be swimming inside water because Tago is going to be pretty compact for teams to actually punish. So perhaps areas such as Studio or somewhere a little bit more central is where most teams are eyeing out for. So that, for a matter of fact, we'll also see them also contesting really hard to really secure those form of zones for themselves. Once again, we have the boys of Made in Thailand who have gotten their chicken dinner, and they know the race is not over yet. We didn't really see huge smiles on their faces. It's just sheer focus out of the boys.
Yeah, it's just round number 2, right? I'm sure the players do realize that as well. Guys, okay, yay, we got the chicken dinner. It's cool, but it's only round number 2. So now we're going to jump into the flat path. And fun fact, so our observer director, Jamba, I did have a conversation, and he did say what he liked the most about PUBG is that he likes the cinematicness of the game, the scenery of the game. So,
Me too.
Yeah, best person to be the observer director to give us those amazing shots.
Yeah, and I think like we've seen some amazing spectacles of how some of all these fights went through, and of course, shout out to the people who are behind the scenes working hard on the production end, and of course, everyone that put this all together. Of course, this fight starts off from Gangneung, and it will move all the way into Wolsong, meaning to say that any teams that are hoping to land on the outskirts like Hosan Prison will not be able to get to do so. Meanwhile, Hosan could be a very good drop spot for Day Trade Gaming, where look at MITH kicking off the round here, taking on the rest of Global Esports XX, but this being the middle of terminal, there's just so many corners for them to get protection from. So expect them not to really go guns blazing in this area of play.
You know, if you're unhappy with someone and you want to settle the score, where do you drop in this map?
Where?
Warsaw.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Context to those who may not understand, that is a colloquial term.
Yeah,
For-
that is how should you do it? It's a
Unhappy.
unhappy. Yeah, that's a Hokkien
Pissed
term for
off.
unhappy.
Pissed off at somebody, right?
So you settled the score there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it looks like Q Confirm have Zapalui, hoping to settle some scores against Delwyn, and I have been absolutely impressed by this player of TE that has been able to defy death for so many times back in Miramar. Now has to do it all over again, this time against 2 members of Q Confirm. A little tricky if you ask me, but from this approach, he's just gonna go proing and pet the final member that has survived to bring majority of those points back to QC. Will have to charge in first.
Well, I think this is kind of like a half bait because you can see Tan Vu's position. He always like to take those long range support each sort of position. So if they over push and they get into an open position, right now they still have the walls to cover them, but if they come out to a position where Tan Vu can take the shots, then Delwyn will just finish it off.
Yeah, as the rest of Q Confirm checks around this few compounds, it seems like there's only one place that this player could be where they're taking as much precaution as they can. Meanwhile, the rest of TE, they're also circling them down from the outskirts, so Tanvu can also impact how these fights will go out. Speaking of which, the fights are going on, and QC, not overwhelmed just yet. And look at the circle though, it's dissecting between the island as well as mainland, whereas whoever is in terminal, they're going to be able to benefit from this position for at least 2 phases.
Yeah, fun fact as well, this map is actually based off Korea. So, okay, coming back to the fight, a little bit of a trade between these 2 teams, waiting for the rest of TE to come in to pick up their teammate while trying to win the fight.
Dropping a couple of grenades, Zapaloy doesn't really get those angles. 777 pushing through. And he's hoping to deal damage, and the grenades are flying right in. 777 tries to look around the corner, and as they fly right in, Sapoli is just being swarmed right across. Expendables gets another one in return.
Wow, okay. It looks like TE, they're winning this fight so far. So far, so good for them. But Tanvu, that was a good evade for him. 777 finish off Pedret, and now Q confirmed. Down to only 2 players.
Patrick is still going to be alive though, but he has so little health from the outskirts. So this form of fight that we're seeing here between these two teams could go either ways. But for now, getting a little bit more of that protection here, the Expendables didn't seem like they're in the best spot possible, but if there's going to be any kingmaker of that, it has to be Tanvu from the top of the hill.
Okay, Q confirmed. They're trying to get more out of this, but they don't have a good angle to work with, and they don't have the numbers. Now 777 leading the charge for the Expendables, waiting for the right moment to rush in, but look who's waiting on the other side. Hakai, he's probably looking over this fight. Maybe third-party info to his teammates.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him. Delwyn now being the next one to be knocked out instead. Q confirm, 2 members left as TE. Expendable slowly overwhelms them with sure numbers. Next one to fall is going to be Old Pons, and now pushing right through. Tanvu still gets one back! And Leon's Q, he can only hold on for so long. Q confirm, crashes out so early.
And Delwyn still survives. They should be able to pick him up. Yes, in time. Just in the nick of time. So TE, 4 kills, clean.
Yeah, they just got that perfect ace. Whereas Cerberus Esports sets a trap in the middle of the forest. And in that forest, we're also looking at some members of Global Esports Essex slowly lurking by. Might just see a little bit more of that fight going on later on the outskirts of this terminal. Whereas, I'm not too certain if any other teams want to be part of this party. Well, it's not a party yet. It's just a calm before the storm. But here comes ONC driving by, and he does get the knock. Trick is already down, but he has to deal with more.
Wow, it looks like he's been tricked by Fab coming over onto New Generation Esports, and New Generation Esports securing 2 kills back to back. New Generation Esports now 1 call. The rest of 1 call needs to get away, but Chimoy taken off. So 1 call will bring the rest of the round. We'll need 2 players.
I just love how teams are actually setting up choke points here in Tego. They understand that this circle is going to be revolving around the sectors of this river, and the only way to pass that is to really drive by. And NGE knows this all too well, and just like that, 1 call loses 2 members. So it definitely is devastating for the team that's hailing from Indonesia. A couple of rounds we see them getting a lot more points, whereas in Tego it doesn't seem like they have the clear idea of how to really approach this in the early game. Not to their own fault, of course, but those decisions definitely were costly.
Well, it is a new map, and to the benefit as well, this is the first time this map is played with this set of 16 teams. So the rotations, the checkpoints could be a little bit different. Hence, if it's a little bit off, I think it's okay.
Yeah, and as much as Tego has been released for so many months already, it was not included in the esports circuit for most part, which is why we still call it a new map, especially in competitive, where if you're not practicing it, you rather focus on all these maps that you want to get good at. And now with so little time for them to prepare, we're already seeing how all these professional teams are implementing the same ideation that they have from different maps that they've understood. And with that form of assignment, they implement this very well. And look at E-Arena. This is another choke point that we are looking forward to, and E36 might just be a casualty. Instead, they will be moving from right down under and still getting clipped. He will survive for now, but Larix, he's getting tagged as well. 51 HP left, and on the outpost, I'm not too sure they could actually do much, but they did pop tires. Deva continues driving forward. Yeah,
they popped the back tires, so Deva now is dependent on momentum to bring him to wherever he wants to go. Hopefully he'll get there safely. ZZ not letting go of him just yet with the long range shots, but looks like he'll be A-okay with the terrain.
Yeah, being forced out of the vehicle and now have to play from the outskirts. The blue zone's slowly setting in as well. And the rest of E36 haven't had the best of run for the past 2 rounds of Miramar. Now getting into this scenario, they are just hoping for a smooth cruise and already getting a little bit more of that challenge. They understand that this is not a point for them to take a fight on the outposts. Whereas Day Trade Gaming didn't have much to find. They've already lost Pubg very early on. And like I said, early fights is what gives Tego a fresh breath of air from what we usually see from other maps.
Yeah, we're only still in phase 1 and we saw like a, well,
Almost 2 teams if you add all the numbers together.
True enough. Okay, so we're going to see the next phase of Circle. It's going to be still a 50-50 split.
Oh boy.
Ooh, yes, it is. But because this is an esports mode, right? So we definitely won't see the Circle ending up in the water. So if look at this current Circle, I think the higher percentage would definitely be on the smaller island on the left.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing if that 5% there of chance for it to eventually fall back towards where NGE as well as CES is from, but it also pits everybody all over onto the island instead. So for the first movers, that's great. For MITH, they say, nah, I'm not too concerned. I'm just gonna be up in the air, getting directly into the zone, and then figure it out later on. But the challenge is surviving this drop right now, moving directly into the jungle territories. They should be able to at least garner a little bit more of a safety net for themselves. Meanwhile, look at members of UV. They're just around the corner, and Mate in Thailand understands this is too much risk to take those compounds.
You know, the second double-edged sword for using logistic pickup is that when you land, you not necessarily have a vehicle. Like if you go from a vehicle to where we are, you obviously have a vehicle.
Yeah.
So that's something they kind of trade off with.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it is going to be very risky. You got to think twice before you do that. Meanwhile, Cerberus Esports is not going to be thinking twice as they storm right through. Taekwondo 10 HP left, but the damage is done towards Purple Mood Esports. Fluky with that double nade. And both sides seeing damage done altogether.
Wow, but they're not done yet though. So look at this. The rest of Purple Moon Esports coming in. At the same time, UV and EA want some of this.
And Masaki clutches it! He's only got 3 HP! And he wipes off Purple Mood out of Tego.
Wow, only 3 HP, but he got to reset quickly now. The rest of them are coming in. And Cerberus Esports eliminated as well. Cerberus Esports, after that win, it was a quick victory. But then again, the quick victory was started by E Arena, who came in just at the right timing.
And now everyone's just eyeing out on what exactly happened across this compound. UV wants to butt in, but it doesn't seem like they were in the right position to do so. At E Arena, they came in for the scraps and they finally took down the sports. But that explosiveness is what Cerberus is all about. Purple Mood at least walked away with 3 before getting out of the game. Is quite a decent record, but it still holds a little bit more of what they want to achieve in the overall picture. But 5 points, I think it's still healthy.
It's okay. Yeah, since you mentioned that the average is like 6 per round, right? So 5, it's all right there. Yeah, but anyway, good job as well to the third party who came in and took advantage of that. So not only they got the extra point for themselves, but they also secured an entry route after eliminating an entry.
Indeed. And I could definitely smell the rivalry brewing between both Purple Moon as well as Cerberus. These two, respectively, currently positioned at second as well as third in the standings, will have to have their scores locked in. Now, Archangel Predator has not just waiting across the lines where E36 have their struggle to rotate, and now bigger struggles ahead. This is basically just 40% of land area that's being left available. And I guess good notion for those who are already in Yeoncheon, they will be able to play this out within the city. On the south side, I guess AAA as well as NGE, they can take this your time. Take a look at that triple loot box that's dropping over the south though. That could be pretty juicy for attack all around. And they can still play around the southern plains for a while. T5 now getting shot at. Pressure is on here on phase 3.
Ooh, okay, Star-Lord. Kind of far away from his other teammates though, still taking out the PASC 338, so he should be a-okay. But he seems to be running on foot, no vehicle, so this is a little bit of a risky play there for Star-Lord.
Yeah, and he managed to get a few restocks of painkillers as well as boosters for him to be able to tank a little bit of that damage being done from the outskirts. Global Esports Essex takes it slowly and spots out the movements of T5, but won't be able to halt them from reaching the center of Yeonchang. GEX slowly finding picks after picks, but so far haven't been able to successfully nail one inside of Taego. GE within the city, but nobody's going to take the direct, taking the direct center, because if it shifts even further from the city, it's going to be hard to get out of.
Yeah, it is. But if it shifts inside the city, then it's probably going to be
Perfect scenario.
Yeah, it's a perfect scenario for them. But for us, we're probably going to see a lot of standoffs and a lot of holds for all those teams inside of there, just like any other compound fight. But now on the outside, he was kind of surrounded anyway.
Yeah, speaking of which, sharp shots coming in from Enter Forest from top side of the hill. Guess he just revealed too much of his positioning, and now Norrens immediately falls back. Members of Day Trade, they're all over the place this time around. And should I say, there's only 2 members left. Now having to deal with a few of them. Flying vehicle out of the way, and that's just a distraction for Deva to be able to deal some damage alongside with K. And now, only one more standing in the way for Day Trade.
Now I do wonder whether that flying vehicle is a deliberate move or it just happened.
I think it's a little bit of both, right? Like, you take a gamble where you might be able to run somebody over, and you got the rest of your members to work with. So, either ways, style points for them.
Yeah, style points. Yeah, I'll give extra 2 points for that. Can we add into the overall scores? But anyway, so now it's going to be E36 trying to find their way into the circle, but look who's waiting for them. It's going to be Archangel Predator inside of it.
Yeah, they've already lost the helmet from those tags that he's receiving. Star-Lord needing to run off of it. Good news for the members of the teams that are already inside Yeonchang. They will be safe and sound for now until they get themselves into another fight. Star-Lord now bows outside of the zone. And slowly and steadily, Deva gets some pickoffs there. Not out of the outskirts. Couldn't really find ways to squeeze right through. But Patrick here to fend them off. Pushing upwards. 1 versus 2 though. We got to need some help for the rest of Archangel Predator. And Alec might just be able to spot them out. And he's just going to be gunning out for Sylvia.
The fight's not over yet. Evil Patrick gets another one from the side, eliminating the entire squad. E36 goes down, taken out by Archangel Predator.
E-Arena's here.
Next opponent has arrived, has entered the arena. It's E-Arena themselves.
Yeah, this is where it will be quite daunting for the rest of Archangel Predator, because they were the ones pit over onto the corners of the blue zone. Now, with the emergencies being called out, the Expendables is taking advantage of the situation against the rest of NGE. Some damage being done, not enough to knock out Hakai.
Oh, Dakyu's almost got it though. 50% of health shredded through his shots. But then again, no knockdowns. But they're landing into a war zone. Look at the amount of teams inside of the city.
Man, this is gonna be pretty interesting, where the rest of NGE, they decide to take the top of the, what you call, temple, perhaps? They will have a little bit of elevation, whereas teams are struggling across the river, on the bridge, attack all around, couldn't make the cut, and there's only so little that they can work with.
Ooh, even Tanado managed to lay down fast, and now looking over at Leo, just putting AAA at bay, just by the bridge. And now AAA, we need to fight against the Expendables. 777 spots out one, tries to take him down, but doesn't have a clear shot.
It's just playing by the edge of the cliff here, and I'm not too sure if there's going to be any form of slip-ups, but the Expendables, they've already done enough damage upon the rest of from attack all around, and that will definitely halt their progress. Meanwhile, Patampong, with one Molotov to burn down both Fap as well as Nalty. That's what they get for staying put over a top end of that building. Not much that they can actually do. You can't jump off of it anytime soon without getting picked off. So that's absolutely great. Meanwhile, this is just an urban standoff that we're going to be witnessing later on. Whereas MITH, they're taking it out of the field.
Yeah, Made in Thailand has arrived just behind TE, so it's going to be a battle between the two teams. Right now, shots fired out by 777 by Rogue. Knocked out by Delwyn with duck kills as well, taking out Exclusive.
So quickly! And what's the response? Duckman's a little too far off to actually get much being done. Delwyn squeezing from the lower angles.
Wow, I mean, TE, they are just built differently at this point. Taking the fight against not only MITH, but also taking down Zest from another angle.
I was hoping to see the battle between Duck Hughes as well as Duckmans, but they will try to call it all off as they've already lost 2, and now the chase is on. The rest of TE hunting out for MITH, and they still have to deal with the circle later on. So, with that being said, they have to wrap this fight real quickly. Duckmans as well as Jacob, they're pinned against the blue zone, and there's so little health left on Duckmans.
Oh, okay, Duck Hughes. How are they going to find their way into the circle? I mean, looking at the circle at this point, there's so many teams just by the edge of it having their own compounds. Now, AAA is coming in towards TE, but AAA is still on the outside of the circle as well, and if they choose to move in, they need to fight against TE first.
Sure enough, attack all around. Have managed to at least recuperate and relieve the pressure off of the ambush over on the bridge. And now tries to set one up against Delwyn as well as 777. I think Exclusive just misses the mark ever so slightly. Now he spots out 777, but it's a little too late. Meanwhile, back into the city as we go. Jacob, he might have actually nailed down Silly, but it was Cloris that secured the number instead. Irina dashes off against Archangel Predator, and Irina playing this very, very safely. They got another compound of their own as UV continuously get numbers after numbers, and MITH will try to trade back.
There you go, there you go. NBK peeked out, secures their kill. MITH eliminated at number 10.
Unicorn Venom stings them like a bee. Well, I'm not sure if a unicorn can sting, but I guess that horn can definitely do quite a significant damage. Anyways, back into the game. Tanvu goes in for an exchange, and it's going to be him knocking down Exclusia after spotting out a fight going down. And it's just absolute havoc that we're seeing across Yeoncheon.
Whoa! 2 niggas back-to-back for Jedi, using the power of the Force to get the knockdown. Both headshots, wow. But still no opening for them to get across.
That was something special. But it also allows a little bit more room for Delwyn to get the resets off. But this is a great opportunity for attack all around to set that ambush as they're slowly approaching right in. Damage still being done. Delwyn tries to trade right back, but it won't be knocked out again.
Oh, Jedi, 11 health. That was a close one for him. But now the circle, the zone is going to close in onto them. They need to pop the smoke. They need to get in, but they're being stopped at their tracks.
So close.
No way for him to get across.
And now with them being blinded off, the Expendables is hoping for random grenades to hit the rest of attack all around. Only Jedi survives for now. Exclusia, unfortunately, has to give his life away. And more of these nades are slowly dealing pressure against the rest of the Expendables. They're hugging across the corner, now being blinded off as well. Just suppressing Jedi all around, and attack all around eventually bows out.
Yeah, no way. It was difficult for them. They had no space to move at some point. Now, speaking of space to move, between the two teams, GX looks like they have company in the same area, but TE naded down by Zest.
My goodness, Global Esports Aztecs just dealing so much with that grenade. And Hakai, he spots out the rest of GEX. We see the retreat coming through as Xavier tries to get the revives off against Leo. Global Esports Aztecs, this is one of the best rounds so far. And just seeing them understanding the nooks and crannies of Takeo, and now still yields a lot of return and still is within the range of the circle. Irina have also been impressive on how they've been able to survive many of all these pressure that's killing from Archangel, and here we go!
Okay, Unicorn Venom against Archangel Predator. Somehow goes down, NBK now, the last man still standing. Jump shot, beautiful, but backup arrives just in time, and that's going to be Nan saving the day.
Archangel Predator goes on a spree. They have not left off what they've had from Miramar and now have 5 points on the board for themselves. 7 teams still remain though. Up close and personal, GEX is approaching the rest of E Arena, but this is going to take a while before they can settle the score. Meanwhile, GE is approaching T5 very closely as well. And this is the tricky thing when it comes down to Taiko. So many compounds for you to really scavenge through, as well as to clear some of all these close proximities in order to secure numbers back. Saber tries to find that pick, and we see Ducky's taken out by the zone instead.
Yeah, he denies the points, probably because he has nowhere else to go, so might as well not give his point away to another team. But now look at the compound on the north side. If the circle moves away, it'll be super interesting to see at least these 3 teams taking out each other.
That's right. E Arena does have a great point of contest, as they are directly in the center alongside with T5 until the rest of GX pushes through. So I guess they really have to find ways to take appropriate defensive measures when it needs to be put up. So now with the update, it will definitely decide who gets the biggest advantage of it all, and it has to be T5.
Well, the biggest disadvantage to me right now is going to be Archangel Predator, because they need to cross the road, and EA is waiting for them if they choose to go there. If they go to the other side, it's going to be GE. So either way, they need to make sure that their smokes are on point. And right now, Archangel Predator, okay, they're still waiting for the right timing. They're still waiting for it. Probably they're waiting for like fights to happen, and all these teams are distracted with each other before they move it.
And I really do hope that they do have a few smokes to be able to set right through the junction, where there are a couple of walls that they can defend themselves with, but other than that, there's no building for them to hide behind, and that's where Evil Patrick just basically put the pedal to the metal and moves forward. But that also leaves Nana's walls out in a little bit of a predicament. Arena now is in the middle of the cotton cloud smokes, and all these zone grenades are being tossed out as well. This is going to be absolutely difficult, but Archangel Predator is up for that challenge.
Oh, but the rest of them will need to pick up the challenge because two of them been knocked down. The Savior, okay, he'll secure this point. There's going to be another one in the bag for Global Esports XZ. One out there. And right now we can see that Yuri waiting for the right moment. They need to move as well. GX, it's not like they're safe in the circle.
Oh, he's got the tubes after ready as well. Firing grenades after grenades. This is gonna slowly clear them off from the buildings. And Archangel Predator sees this as a little bit of chance to cut right through. They only have 1 member remaining. Meanwhile, Leo being blinded off. Thankfully, he's not being picked off just yet. Not too sure if he's gonna be able to get out with much in return, but the zone and inside is just hugging by the corner wall, thankfully not being burned out by the Molotov.
Oh, that was a super close one there for inside, so he's A-OK for now. Algin was the last man for Archangel Predator, is still on the other side of the road. So without any more space, it's either he chooses to deny himself or he forces his way across and probably might give his point to another team.
Yeah, and just seeing how Yuri is just zoning off both E Arena as well as Archangel Predator, they eventually have to make a move, and Yuri gets punished. Quick hit shot coming in from KM99, and E Arena might just be able to just close in on the rest of GEX. With them pushing right through, it's only Leo left standing in the way, but now EA currently stuck inside a building.
Oh yeah, right now EA stuck in the building without the circle, so this is going to be hard for them. But they are still waiting for Leo to show himself, so I don't know. What will Leo do? Does he want to consider to deny himself?
Well, I guess like he's just going to hold on to his angle, because even his fallen allies are giving all the intel that they need. Savior just hearing all these footsteps as well as movement. Now he's being taken out, and now GEX still has 2 to work with at the very least. Yuri now picked off.
Yeah, immediately goes down again, leaving Leo all alone. KM99 tries to land the shots onto Leo. Leo peeks out. Leo wins the fight!
And he gets it! MG3 to back in those 2 points as they are now in the top 4. Meanwhile, GE as well as T5 with the most members remaining. Archangel Predator will finish on 4th position, with Glorious closing out the final member of Archangel Predator.
Well, this is the time for T5 to pick up the lost points from before. Right now they have GE, who's trying to get into the circle, and said, where is he going to go? I mean, he needs to get across as well, but so much open space between him and Patapong.
Yeah, and for Tiraton 5, they've already got clear ideas of where Genius Esports members are. As you see them struggling to make ends meet, Clory's already being knocked out. Yuta slowly getting revived, but it's hard to actually reach out. GEX, as good as it gets, 3rd place finish, their best position so far here in the Grand Finals.
It's amazing how long GE has held out, especially the fact that T5 knows exactly where they are and they don't have much space to move. Clory is taken out by Rosita, and now it's going to be GE, last 3 versus 4 from T5.
Great blinding coming in from this, all these flashes that these teams are utilizing, but GE, they're needing to find ways to work this one out, and they create clouds of smoke to push right through towards T5, and what T5 does is to drop more and more grenades. Sir T is going to be pretty far away to join in the fight, but if he can find a flank angle, this could turn the fight around towards their favor, and slowly but surely, T5 just wipes them out one after another. Zest outside of zone, hoping to deny these points away. The final member remaining, and finally, T5 will be able to get a chicken dinner of their own.
Yeah, the members of GE managed to deny themselves to the zone, so no points given to the opponent from there, except for maybe 1, but that's about it. Other than that, T5 getting the chicken dinner, and I think they got like maybe 6 or 7 kills from that round. But of course, 10 maximum rank points from there. So it's going to be a decent round for T5. I'm sure they would have wanted more because they are a team who has shown a lot of fights, especially during the last chance qualifiers for the potential teams as well. But yeah, anyway, still 3 rounds. It's all about being consistent and collecting the points, and T5 is in the house.
Yeah, and it's just phenomenal performance throughout the course of these 3 maps that they've played out. And so far, we've not really seen T5 dropping out too early. They've already had what we said early on, an average of 5 points of eliminations. And this time, they played the war of attrition, where they were the first movers into the city of where it was on the final circle. And they lasted out with majority of their members still being left alive for most part, and finally being rewarded with that chicken dinner after those multiple attempts. It's definitely a joy for the fans that have supported it for so long.
Yeah, and the fact that this circle, the first circle was split between the 2 different islands, right? So that's why we see a lot of early migrations, naturally, if there's a lot of early migrations, there'll be a lot of fights, and we saw a lot of this kind of while they are traveling type of fights happening.
Yeah, there's just so many altercations that they have actually gone in favor of certain teams, and I think like one of the show-stopping ones were actually Purple Moon versus Cerberus Esports, and then it just sparks out this huge flurry of battles that happens around that jungle area, where Archangel Predator, they found members of E36 to rake up majority of those points, and eventually Archangel Predator have found their way into the top 4 as well.
Yep, Archangel Predator. Kind of surprising as well, the fact that they lasted that long, because they left 1 player behind, considering that 1 player knows that there's no way that he can cross the road. I think we'll see it later in the highlights, so that's why he kind of denied himself to the zone, and he just stood behind just to like get as many placement points as possible at that point, knowing that he cannot get across anyway. So there was a good strategic move from Archangel Predator.
Yeah, and there's a very good reason why the Expendables were one of the top tier teams back in the group stages. You saw how, despite them being put into a difficult situation against Attack All Around, immediately they had this quick thinking to throw out as many flash grenades as possible to deny any form of vision as well as entry. And the smokes weren't helping Attack All Around. And, you know, going into the final circle itself, I think T5 have already gotten as much of these areas covered up, and that has made it really difficult for GE to actually close in on them.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, again, another different team, getting the chicken dinner. So there's no team really dominating this just yet.
That's right.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm still looking forward to see that up until the last game, we have a good handful of teams still able to eye for the championship, and it's going to be. The anticipation is going to be to the end if that happens, and it's going to be super fun.
Yeah, and I think like the race is really on for these two nations, namely Thailand as well as Vietnam, that have been putting huge records, and now even the Philippines is going to be a huge contender. Of course, when I say the Philippines, it has to be our Angel Predator, and not only that, I think ONC, one call, had some really good games going for them, but Intego picked off way too early, and it's due to the fact that other teams just understood there are certain areas that you could basically just abuse a choke point and just set up a trap, and I think one call was one of the teams that fell for it.
Yeah, that's where in a map that is newly introduced in the competitive scene, like you might not have as much data as compared to like Erangel or Miramar, so you don't really know like what are the trends or what are the best practices of the teams. Everyone's just experimenting, just trying it out and see what works, and things just happen.
And I like the fact that these teams have all these grand ideation that came into fruition, and now Tiroton 5, of course, with the chicken dinner, have brought in 18 points in Tego.
18 points. So far, no team has gotten a double-digit kill point overall. But Cerberus Esports, despite them going out fairly early, but like what you mentioned earlier during the cast, they managed to get like 5 kill points, still putting them on page number 1. So pretty decent, but I'm sure they would have wanted more. Anyone would have wanted more. But to get 5 points and still go out early, that's not too bad.
The closest one to that double-digit mark is actually the Expendables, where there were a lot of all these impossible situations that they actually survived out of, and those really early trades that actually went in their favor. We saw them battling on that small little compound, and it could have actually gone either ways, where things could have actually looked pretty bad. But hey, they pulled right through, and I think like this team still got a lot of fight in them to prove when we do move into our upcoming map, which is going to be Erangel. So now just look at the board. Made in Thailand, Day Trade Gaming, One Call, as well as Q Confirm. These were the names of the teams that had seen some of the struggle. Despite that, we saw Made in Thailand actually get into the circle, but losing out the trade against TE.
Yeah, I was expecting that. The fact that they got into the circle like fairly okay, they would have gotten some points, but it's going to be 0 points in that round. So anyway, what matters is the total points collected so far. So looks like a swap at the number 1 spot, whereby T5 is now at number 1 with 37 points, opening up a little bit of a gap, 9 points difference than Genius Esports, and the rest of them, look at how close they are.
Oh boy, it's just a single digit that actually determines who actually moves into that number 2 spot in the upcoming game. Honestly, with how the rate of success these teams are going through, you can have one bad round and one good round to turn things over. We see Made in Thailand, who was on top of the board before, has now been pushed to number 5, and that's how competitive this whole scene is here in Asia.
Yeah, I'm looking over at the attack all around as well. Still without a single placement point, but they got themselves 13 kill points. I mean, look at that ratio, right? But still at page number 2 because, I mean, this is the grand finals we're talking about. It's not only about getting into the top 8, it's all about getting that number 1 spot. So if attack all around wants to challenge for the number 1 spot, they need to start finding that balance between placement points and kill points.
Yeah, and I think like the perfect balance is now in the hands of Tiroton 5. We've seen it since Miramar, and we see it now here in Tego, just clawing their way to the top. And this is definitely a team that has a certain formula that has been tried and tested. With that, Tiroton 5 has been showing up with all their members. So I don't think that there is one such superstar that has been popping off within their team. So far, their formula is just to ensure the survival of all 4 of their members, and then with the strength in numbers, they will be able to do more.
Yeah, and well, since we watched the 3 rounds, right, and all of them have different chicken dinners, and all of them have various of performances. The team that we thought that, oh, okay, started off well, then it flips from map to map and all that and so on and so forth. So it's still anyone's guess who would really do well inside of the grand finals too. But one thing for sure is that so far out of the 3 chicken dinners, 2 of them are taken by a Thai team. Yeah, 2 of them taken by a Thai team and 1 by a Vietnamese team. So it just shows that how strong the Thai region is still at this point.
That's right. And overall, let's take a look at the top fraggers of the day so far, and we're having Leo that leads the pack from Global Esports Asset, and they will have him scoring not only the highest damage being done, but 6 kills being taken across the board for this match in Takeover.
Well, I'm looking at the ratio between Leo and Tanvu. It's like about the same amount of damage, but Leo gets more kills, so he's a little bit more efficient as compared to Tanvu. And at the end of the day, what matters is securing the kill points. You can deal as much damage as you want, but if you can't get the kills, the points don't come in as well. So Leo is being efficient with that.
Yeah, and from the approaches that they're taking as well, Tanvu does play a little bit more of that supportive flank role as well, what we saw early on. And I guess like this is where he actually supplements a lot of all these damage numbers back in turn. And of course the kills for the expendables actually is distributed from a lot of different members. Well, I'm not too surprised that Hisaki is also up there, but Chloris definitely have put on quite the showing across all these rounds, not only in terms of survivability for GE, but that he's been able to at least get most of these points back.
And yes, those are some of the top individual performers so far. That could change because we still got a lot of maps to go. And the numbers are not that huge if you kind of think about it. Like the highest is 6. That means on average right now with 3 rounds, it's only 2 kills per round. So that's kind of okay, right? It's not like wow, like one person gets like 10 kills by now and so on. So it's still fairly close with all these individuals.
That's right. The only explosive round where we saw the winners actually get the most points out of was actually from Made in Thailand back in match number 2. And despite that, it wasn't to say that, hey, this one man is doing everything for the team. It was distributed like at least 4 takedowns on an average across the board. And I guess like, what more can you ask out of these players, right? Like, in an esports setting, to even get one, sometimes it's so difficult when you are playing with some of the best in the world.
Yeah, it is very different if you play a ranked game versus, well, in a tournament like this, whereby you have like right now at this stage, the best 16 teams in the tournament. So for him to get like 6 kills so far, an average of 2 per round, it's definitely commendable. And at the end of the day, it's also a team effort, right? Like it's not only about individually getting the skills, but as a team, if you're able to get those kills in, then that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and I just love that Global Esports SX, they are actually playing from their own rooms as compared to some of these players who are, you know, inside of the gaming house, in their own training grounds per se. So you can feel GX, they're absolutely comfortable in their own environment, where of course they've started their careers out of this in front of their computers.
Yeah, don't all the players do, like you always start off in your own bedroom. If not, you go to a cyber cafe. It's either one, right? And at some point, if you work hard enough, then you end up like maybe like Cerberus Esports. They're having their own place, sitting together, enjoying this tournament, and so far it's an okay day for Cerberus Esports. I mean, you can't complain about the chicken dinner.
Yeah, other than the chicken dinner, you see them really being very actively looking for those numbers back, even despite them losing some of all these trades, but they've always ensured that whatever battles that they take, there will be casualties. And that is why a lot of all these teams have had respect for, of course, this household team out of Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of experience as well playing at the global stage. So let's see here. Can they maintain the level of consistency as we jump into game number 4? This will be the first Erangel of our grand final stage, and the flight path a little bit on the southern side, I believe, but cutting across to the left. So I believe that most of the drop spots can still be accessible to the teams. except you plan to go to Severny or Zarki, then it's a little bit of a travel.
Yeah, and even with it being a little bit far off from Severny or Stauber, to say the very least, there's ample vehicles across all these intersections where they can basically pick up for their whole squad to be able to move across these part of the maps of where they like to decide which city to call their own. Whereas on the northern point around Pachinki, we will see the battle between the Expendables versus Attack all around, and they decide we want the exact same compound. We're gonna play up close and personal from the get-go. Quick pickups coming from Excaluzia. He's only got the Tommy gun, but he will have to make do.
I am seeing a trend here with Attack all around is that they like to drop in the middle of the map, whichever compound it is, like Picado for example, and now it's going to be Pachinki. But Pachinki, well, very, very popular spot. You don't expect it to be vacant for you, so I'm pretty sure they know that another team is in here.
That's right. Now Janku unleashes a flurry of bullets coming from his UMP. He's only got another S6 to work with, at least when it comes down to such a close proximity fight. That S6 shotgun will definitely be deadly so long as you land that killing blow.
Yep, here you go. Most importantly is to land the shots first. And so far we haven't seen any big shots landed. Maybe like one on the 777 and that's about it. But most importantly as well, no knockdowns just yet. And looking at the two teams, TE, I wonder if they want to exit and go up to that church on top of the hill, or do they want to remain and fight? Now the fact that the circle is in Pachinki, or Pachinki is part of the circle, I think this is going to take a while.
Yeah, it will take just a little while, but the damage has been done. Jedi, with those grenades, will be able to land it perfectly onto Duck Hughes. As much as members of AAA seem like they were not getting the best out of weapons, they made the best decisions possible with the utilities.
Well, GEX and EA duking it out somewhere else as well, and the Pachinki fight's not over yet. Duck Hughes is still down on his knees, not picked up by his teammates yet. And this should be an opening for AAA, just that they have Tanvu, the Expendables have Tanvu on the rooftop, and with this kind of vision, you can kind of stop AAA from coming in.
Yeah, he's just holding down the fort. Whereas Skirt, he's holding on to a VSS of his own for a little bit of added range. Now, it's just a lot of coverage coming in from Tanvu where he has to pick a certain angle to focus on, where AAA is also marching up ahead. He won't be able to hold them all off completely, but whatever damage done, it won't be valuable, especially now with a member carrying that AUG. They can basically unload a lot more. But the arena, though, slowly losing out members here by the port of Ferry Pier. Lyrics only got the PP Bison to work with, and he spots out Upchen, but I'm not sure if they can get out of this.
Oh yeah, this is hard, because right now GEX, I guess they're pretty confident with the couple of knockdowns, especially after the reset, but Leo is just buying time for his other teammates to come, and he will be the one to try and hold the fort. Leo tries to secure that kill, and he gets it against KM99. He will be able to pick up his teammate now.
But there is going to be a slight push up ahead as well. And E-Arena just absolutely getting suppressed. KM99 has got no business doing their Insight really has to hold it for himself right now. But exchanges go true. Insight still lands it. An AK to the head of Upchen.
Okay, Leo waiting for the right moment. He knows that someone's just right below him. Not sure if Insight knows that Leo is right in front. Okay, Insight knows right now Leo launches his shot. It hits the ground. But now we're going to see a 1v1 fight.
As he's trying to hold off the angles, but he's not looking in the right direction. Inside, he's doing it. Oh, 6 HP left. So he lost that helmet. But now they have turned it against the rest of GEX.
Well. Look how the tides have turned. EA now only left with 2 players left. The rest of GEX, we have Xavier here trying to be the one to save his other teammates. And now with the Vector in hand, trying to find a good angle. But not able to. Yuri is in the house, but Yuri immediately gunned down.
My goodness, Larynx is just so quick. And now, inside, they will pick this all together with Larynx, but Xavier, down with the Vector, still proved to be deadly in close quarters. Damage being done towards Larynx, 20 HP left, and they've done it! GEX shut down on the match.
Wow. It feels like Larynx was just a diversion. It's like, okay, take a couple of shots, it's fine. And his other teammate comes for the other angle and just finish up the job. That was great coordination by them.
And what a clutch by Inside as well. You saw him playing from the open field into these compounds, and he has been able to knock 2 members out of GEX to make it entirely possible. And then, of course, that was the final blow to GEX. They should have not lost control of their peer.
Yeah, they got the first few knocks, but you know, that just happens. I mean, it's a 360 game, right? So opponents can come from multiple angles and they didn't anticipate that.
Yeah, it's just great priority coming in from E-Arena on which guy to target first as well. How they've been able to maneuver around with so little on there. Inside was literally on a single-digit health. Now, of course, the game continues as we have Cerberus Esports having a little bit of a predicament here on the southern side of Mount Gatka, I call it. Some people can argue with me that it's Mount Georgia Pole. But tackle around, look at that. Everybody's getting a real estate of their own. And this fight is still continuing between them as well as TE.
I'm still going to argue it's Mount Gatka.
Mount Gatka.
Yeah.
I prefer Mount Gatka.
I've never heard Mount Jogoku though.
Some people told me that, hey, it is the hill at South George. Whatever it is, man.
Oh!
And finally, Daylight finds that elimination by dropping that grenade onto 777 after knocking him down. Attack pull around. Only find that slight advantage right now. Tavu is not left off from the rooftop from the last 3 minutes that we last checked in on him.
Oh yeah, he's still there. My goodness. But anyway, I mean, it's a decent position as long as you don't get knocked. You can get good vision. You can possibly get the high ground to low ground advantage when shooting. Possibly high possibility of landing a headshot. So it's kind of okay area. Just like how our Age of Predator is at this point. Okay area. Unicorn Venom wants to get their okay area as well. That's why they go up to the high ground.
Sure enough, they have speed, momentum to bypass some of all these shots fired by Archangel Predator. Meanwhile, the Expendables having a little bit of struggles of their own, but they will continue on. This time, spotting out Excaluzia with his back turn. This is still not going to be a pickoff by Delwyn.
I mean, Mini 14, despite it looking like it's long range specialist and all that, but actually the recall for Mini 14 is quite high. I noticed that Hatzawa ran to the compound and immediately got taken out. So he wasn't prepared for that. But the good thing is that his other teammates evaded this compound that was held by Unicorn Venom, and they managed to find their compound of their own.
Out of the many Vietnamese teams out there, I think like Unicorn Venom has yet to find that formulation in order to get whether it's high takedowns or even positioning points. But it's understandably why. Finally, now with them getting that early access into Mount Gatka, this might prove to be something. But if they're pushing upwards and immediately goes directly onto the crosshairs of NGE, explodes it, one of the top fraggers throughout the course of day one, eliminated very early on.
Ooh, okay, taking out one of their main fraggers. Banger as well, securing another kill. So that's going to be another one in the back for them. Jacob, on the other hand, mainly talent so far. Other than the fact that they lost explosives fairly early on, looks like they don't bump into any other fights. But we're back inside of Pachinki, and because we're still at phase 1, that means the Pachinki fight is still in the circle.
Is this going to take it all the way into phase 2, perhaps?
Yeah.
And by phase 3, if they're still not moving, I don't know what actually moved them by then. So, attack all around. We've never seen them actually bailing out from the fight. For the past 3 maps that they've played, they're fully committed on taking on teams, and the last we saw back in Tego, it was these exact 2 teams that were taking each other out. Ooh. And I'm pretty sure that Attack All Around wasn't really happy with that result, that the Expendables have managed to upset them. Now, with UV being directly in the center of the circle, a lot of pressure will be on this respective team out of Vietnam. Meanwhile, MITH, they've repositioned, they're coming in from the North Point, eventually will have to hit over onto South George. The Expendables have had maybe notions where they will have to leave the city, but last I checked, not many vehicles inside of Pachinki.
Yeah, I guess so. Normally, like the vehicles would spawn on the outside of Pachinki. So whatever it is, they still need to get out of the city. I wonder who would win this fight at the end of the day, because it's still a 50-50 thing. But Anbu, just as I mentioned it, Skirt immediately gets taken out.
And now Exclusia as well. The Expendables once again winning out the trades. Attack all around. They went blindly into the building separately. And just like that, being punished, and that is the final blow. Duck kills with the double.
Finally, this standoff ended with Triple A losing the fight. So it's Triple A winning once inside of Picado, and then they lost this with different teams.
Yeah. Well, I guess like all these form of pressure that they've got themselves into, dropping directly in the center, not really yield as much as they wanted. But UB though, they've punished the rest of CES moving into the circle, and that only leaves both Tycon as well as another member of CES to be stranded on the wheat fields. This is one of the worst places to be right now.
Oh, yes, and they're all clumped up with each other, so if any team were to come crash in, tosses a nade, tosses utilities, that's going to be hard for them. Right now we can see that Hakai getting a knockdown onto Kale somewhere else, and this is where, because you can't think about it, right? We're only in phase 2, but it feels like we're like phase 4 onwards.
Yeah, like this is how well these teams know Erangel to be able to leverage on some of the positional advantages that they do have. Of course, when it comes down to urban terrains, it will go on for a very long time, just like what we saw with TE as well as Attack All Around. Jexi, though, nails that shot against Nalty. And one call, feeling a lot more confident moving into Erangel this time around. NGE being suppressed from multiple angles, including Enter Force that's dealing a little bit more damage onto Van.
Ooh, and Deva got knocked down to Hakai, so that's out for Hakai. Now, E36 looks like they are holding this strongly, coming across onto NGE. Just right below the Deva now. Has a good angle, but the smoke is blocking his vision.
He's just got to find a way to push right through, hiding right behind the tree, but the damage is done. Fat first one to go out of NGE, and this flurry of grenades is not letting them loose all too much. Nox now exchanged, and now with only Van being the healthy member alive, you see Jexi having the best vantage point possible to pick those numbers up.
Wow, and Jexi can actually steal those kills away. He just needs a clear shot. But now, while waiting for that to happen, the circle, it is still the Gaka Mountain, and one call is on top of it.
This is going to be the perfect position for them, and the only way that they could be dispossessed out of this mountain is if Genius Esports actually push right through. But I don't think that this is going to be the priority for GE right now, because they will still have to watch their stakes. And Jexi now sees Duckmans moving in with the UAZ and Jacob alongside. At least they know what exactly to do against this team here that's only having 2 members to work with. But one call, they cannot afford to also let loose of the teams that's slowly surrounding them for the moment.
Okay, T5 still trying to hold this area. Rosita knockdown needs to be picked up, but Rosita is on the outside. I believe his teammates still need to get towards him, but the circle will close anytime soon. Right now, Larry's all alone trying to climb this mountain, but he has to be aware that one call is waiting.
Yeah, this is just a little bit more of that added pressure for one call, but with so many teams vying for this high hill, this is going to be not only a race to the top, but it's a battle of who is the king of the mountains here. Chibarit tries to line that one. Oh, and that apparently was a headshot. Wow. A quick tap, and he's going to look for more members of GE.
Yeah, quick tap with the M24, immediately getting the knockdown, but because of the terrain, he couldn't secure that kill, so should be able to pick him up. That should be a-okay, but that's just also another signal that, hey, someone's waiting on the other side of this mountain, so don't cross the line.
Yeah, they are just taking great precautions right now. One call just absolutely dominating on top of the hill as the rest of the teams are playing on the lower grounds, hoping that eventually when the dust all settle, it will have the circle pull all the way down. Jexy receiving a little bit of a shot, but it won't be all too lethal for now. Painkillers will do. This will be as passive as he plays, so long as there's no pressure coming from MITH.
Yeah, he'll be ping chilling here for a while. He has the circle, he has this kind of like a rough opening for him to just stay there all alone, so I think he'll be fine for now, unless another team just happens to pass by, but if not, he could last a few phases.
True enough, and at least for one phase, from the looks of it, 20 seconds and less, phase 3 closes out, and we'll eventually see where exactly the next circle takes us. Currently, as it still stands, T5 is still in the lead, despite them not really getting any points at all here in Angle, but what we usually see out of T5 is that there will be a lot more active heading into that late game, and now speaking of T5, they once again have that late phase of the circle.
Well, the team that doesn't have it is the teams on the top of the Gakka Mountain here. It's going to be One Call and GE, so both of these teams need to move. Same goes for the couple of other teams just right below of Gakka Mountain. And now GE, they must take the fight, assuming that One Call doesn't want to let go of GE.
There's only a few options available for right now for the two teams on over the top. If they do have those vehicles, they could decide, take those vehicles, move into South George, and slowly move into a certain ground that they would be able to get themselves safe, or else take this fight, which is what One Call is currently doing.
Yeah, One Call, they see 4 points in the bag. But hey, wait a second, Typhoon knocks down Surti from another angle?
Oh, this is going to be a great opportunity for One Call if that's the case.
Yeah, okay. All right, so they probably have read the kill feed, and now they're like, okay, let's go for it. That's why you can see Trick going up for, coming in from another angle, going up for the flanks. On to GE, they want to take the points out of GE.
And GE, they're not going to be holding back for now. As much as their backs are against the zone, they can only propel ahead, and the only way to do so is to fight this way, their own way out. Trick, though, he will find a little bit more of a different position. I'm not too sure why he's looking up in the air. I was hoping for a drop, perhaps, but no, and now being picked off. Q confirmed, will not get that mark. Instead, it was Fluky as well as Nan, working from two different teams in order to get those damage done. Genius Esports.
Okay.
This is as close as it gets.
This is as close as it gets. If this nade could land into the opening
does.
on the right, but Yuda loses the gunfight.
And another nade drops right in. Chibrit is being knocked out. Tree member still standing in the way. GE, as much as damage is being let right through, this is them also needing to pick up Yuda, and this is go time for Jexy.
Oh, Jexy, if he waits any further, okay, a little bit too late there. Now Jexy needs to win the fight. Jexy just right now, Jexy gets another, Jexy gets two! Beautiful by Jexy, but the zone arrived at the wrong timing.
And there's only one member left on each side. Zess, can he do it though? They find the Expendables out of the map, but the fight continues up top of the hill. Tricks have a little bit more health to work with, but he's outside of the zone. He's marching out of him. Jacob's waiting for him as well. Genius Esports trying their best to survive, and it's One Call that gets eliminated first.
Ooh, One Call eliminated first, and somehow Zess still survives representing GE. And now Zess, how long can he survive? Because we're still at 10 teams. If he goes out, now it's still going to be 0 placement points.
And it's Made in Thailand that had the last laugh. They were waiting by the foothill and now taking that battle against E36. Circle continues to drop further and further away from MITH, but they do not care. They want to pick up as much points as possible. And now Patampong has got this firing range for him as well as the rest of T5. Hunting out for those numbers from this point onwards.
Oh, now MITH need to go up against Q confirmed, just
Good
right
nades.
below them. Nade tossed out by Rogue. Will he be able to land those shots? He does, but not able to take anyone down just yet. E36 is going to come in from behind.
Oh, this is going to be pretty bad, but I'm not too sure if this is going to be a good idea or not coming in from E36, as they're hoping to choke off the rest of Made in Thailand. Q confirmed, holding them off from another angle as well. This might just be overwhelming, but Rogue, and there's more shots fired up ahead. This is going to come in from Duckmans and MITH to get to Rogue. still going on an onslaught, but will be taken down.
Oh, Jacob now, high ground. Can Jacob secure that knockdown to Deva?
Let's it.
Jacob very, very close. Oh my goodness, Jacob needs to reset.
And Jacob, he's already got 4 in the bag.
Wow.
MITH, they're pulling this out of a magical hat. Whereas the rest of QC, they're also finding a little bit more of that struggle being under this foothill. There is still a few more challenges that are coming in from the top side, and they're just waiting for Archangel Predator to slowly move downwards, and that's where lower ground advantage will be for them.
Okay, yeah, Archangel Predator, let's see how they're going to overcome the lower ground, but lower ground, no problem for Archangel Predator as Opons goes down to Evil Patrick. Aljin Boss trying to find the right angle. Aljin Boss is right front. If he has that angle, and here we go! Woo! Archangel Predator dominating this area, but one more left.
Just look at how well Elgin Boss take this fight. He just pushes forward on the perfect timing, clearing all these movements all across. Archangel Predator now 3-point streak and will secure more. He's being blinded off. Elgin 3 HP left. And with 1 HP, Nan goes down. Now only Evil Patrick as well as Alec left.
Oh, here we go. Evil Patrick needs to move further forward. The zone will put pressure onto them. Q confirmed Leon's. Picking up his teammate. Duckman's on the other side. Tries to find a good angle to secure those kills, but not able to do so. Because Archangel Predator, they still have the high ground advantage, but they don't have the circle. The zone has arrived.
And they just really have to claw their way out of this by hook or by crook. And Duckman's arrived to the scene, bringing out the numbers to 5. Still looking for Evil Patrick as well. Duckman's, can he survive? No time for a pickup perhaps. And he's just going to bring his allies on board. Jacob, as much as he have contributed so much for MITH, finally he will be able to put it by the rim of the circle. And now this will be updated. And T5, lo and behold, still survives to tell the tale until the final circle remains.
I can't say the same for Archangel Predator. They just got eliminated from that high ground. And we have still at least one player tanking out the blue at this point. Unicorn Venom in a good position as well. They have a compound within the circle. Looks like it's going to be hard to challenge them.
Very difficult to do so. Unicorn Venom honestly doesn't really have to do all too much. They just have to wait for the rest of these squads to move directly into the center, and it's just a flat ground for them to get that bird's eye view. And Daytrade Gaming is doing exactly the same for itself. The only problem for Daytrade, they have to be moving in as well. So whatever smokes they really have to set up Flaming Zone.
Okay, here we go. Leon's, he sees Jacob. Is he going to pull the trigger? No, he's not, because he knows he's the last man standing for Q confirm. But Jacob knows that Leon is there as well. Both of these players just waiting for them to show themselves, and Jacob pulls the shot, and Jacob takes out Leon.
And all the effort coming from Duckmans to save his ally will be able to draw even more points. Jacob absolutely on fire. 5 takedowns so far here in the first round of Argyle in map number 4. And Unicorn Venom, they've been waiting steadily for these other players to be moving in. Meanwhile, Purple Moon have not really drawn too much of attention, though they have got 4 in the back smell, have been able to sniff him out, and will be able to take one down. Taiwan needs to run right in, but the further they go, the more danger there is, as it's all coming in from Unicorn Venom.
Okay, they're not done yet though. Now the nade coming from Smell. Can those nades land? We can see multiple nades launch onto the opponent. Tanawa will be naded out by NBK. Unicorn Venom got the first knockdown, but they need more. They want more out of Purple Moon Esports.
They're on! Whoa! Just like that, Chill will wipe them off from Argyle, and this is where we only have 5 more teams remaining. Beautifully done by UV.
Beautifully done. All those nades launched in synchronization, taking the entire squad out. And now MITH, Duckmans is still on the outside of the circle. He needs to move, but his opponent knows exactly where he is, and if he shows himself, he could be taken out. Duckmans, what's he going to do? He might give himself away to the blue.
Not too sure if that's really the best case scenario, but he has to do what he has to do. So for now, Duckmans will give himself away, will slowly deplete outside of blue zone, and now relying only on Jacob to draw those points back. So far, if there's anyone out there that could close it all off, it has to be Jacob. While Duckmans, of course, will finally be taken out outside the zone. Daytrade 4 members strong, surviving, and that actually puts them up ahead, along with the rest of UV to contest for that chicken dinner. I'm still not counting out T5 as of yet, but look at how things are going for them. T5 will need to find ways to slowly move from North Point into the center.
Well, in fact, T5 seems to have a good advantage, but then again, because there's a road and the majority of circles on the left side of the map, that means there's a possibility that T5 will need to get across, so they need to plan. And whenever you need to plan to get across, it's never going to be easy. They do have a vehicle though, but hopefully they have enough smokes.
And for now, I think like many of all the smokes were deposited in those early battles that they've already locked themselves in. As for perhaps UV, they might have actually stocked a lot more for their own, as they have only got long-range trades so far. So now with them needing to cut across all these corners, Norins just playing it very safely, just stalking on Sapao. And when it comes down to these exchanges, just look at him go, going for those right dot side. And usually, pro players like this, they can still draw headshots even on this mid-range that they're going to be committing into these battles. 1 grenade sent over onto the vehicle. Not going to catch onto T5, but Daytrade will keep sending nades after nades, and that will catch onto Patompo.
Oh, here we go. Belmont's not done yet. Tosses out another nade, hoping to secure that kill. Tosses a Molly as well. This is the time where they start to use all their utilities. Daytrade Gaming, before starting this game, they were at number 16, and now doing so far so good as they take out Patompo as well.
Huge nade coming from Pubg, and that definitely has altered the state of how T5 plays this one out. Only 1 member sustaining here in the top 3 scenario, and Daytrade Gaming, they still have all the members alive, but Unicorn Venom is about to change that scenario.
Okay, here we go. Unicorn Venom can come as a third party because all the fights are focused on the left side of the map. Now Unicorn Venom, but before the Tana Dog gets a knockdown, can he get the second one? He gets a knockdown to Puchus. Rosita will be taken out by Puchus. And now Tana Dog, the last man, but no miracle story for him.
And now that depletes 1 member out of Daytrade, and Norris now getting tagged from Unicorn Venom. And this might just be the first chicken dinner for UV. Perhaps MBK being knocked out, but they still have Sapao here trying to find ways to land bullets onto Flash, but he's way too fast, too dangerous as well. Members of Daytrade all dispersed into different angles, and UV might find it a little bit difficult to catch them.
Yeah, this could be the moment here for Unicorn Venom, unless Daytrade Gaming can pull off something insane. And right now, you can see that Unicorn Venom trying to find a good angle there, trying to shoot through the vehicle, but not able to land it.
Daytrade does have to circle as well. Their playing time, 30 seconds on the clock. Though UV is going to be closing in, there is so little room if they do not have smokes to at least leverage on for now. Norins now repositions and tries to find a way to pick on Sapao and tandem.
Okay, with that knockdown, Daytrade Gaming pretty much left with 2 players. Make that 1. Now it's going to be 4v1. We can say that UV, they can wrap things up, and with that last shot, looks like a little bit of a counter fire. Nuri is not going to go down without a fight.
And they're still pushing forward. Smell is moving in with a vehicle, and Smell gets knocked out! 2 versus 1, and totally double. Nor is now getting tagged out by NBK, especially as he was revived. Here comes the flashes, tossed right on top of Norins. He's not leaving anything to chance, and Norins, defenseless, hiding behind a tree, tags on fired up. Though he finds another knock, it will still be in the hands of Unicorn Venom.
Well, I was hoping that it becomes a clutch there, then it will be an insane comeback story, because before this round started, Daytrade Gaming was at number 16, and well, with this second place finish, I'm sure they would boost themselves up fairly highly. But anyway, Unicorn Venom takes home the chicken dinner. Again, this is still setting the record that so far in all our rounds is different teams getting chickens.
By far the closest match we have seen for today, and wow, it starts off explosive. We have the fights in third tier where E-Arena, despite on the numbers disadvantage, eventually overwhelms GEX, and then we got the battle between Attack All Around as well as TE that lasted for so long, and the Expendables eventually found that opening when AAA went directly inside the city, and we're just too curious.
Yeah, well, I guess that kind of happened, right? And a lot of these teams, like they stood in the city like quite a bit, so a little bit of a surprise there. But one interesting fight was definitely this Gakka Mountain as well. One call held it for the longest time, but at the end of the day, because Zest was still alive behind it, they lasted longer than one call.
Yeah, and not only that, MITH, they have remained to be a little bit more of a thorn in the flesh for those that were on top of the mountain. And despite them having challenges coming in from Archangel Predator, we've seen how this one went on. As much as they have been able to deplete Q Confirm, eventually everybody else was just stopped by this man called Jacob.
Yeah, the man called Jacob indeed. I mean, look how messy this fight is, right? Jacob is still there, and Jacob got the last lap after that. He was the last man, pretty much the last man, the last team from the Gakka Mountain coming down. But after that, it was really, really difficult because like T5 has a compound, UV has a compound. So that area where coming down for the Gakka Mountain is all guarded by team.
Yeah, when we thought that, hey, Purple Moon might be able to claw their way in, when they lost their vehicles, they were forced on the foot. You see great coordination from UV, and then that's where they ramp up their firepower to take this fight into the center. And the rest of day trade, we saw them taking those positions as well, which eventually have to give way after a couple of knocks went through. And then you saw that perfect coordination. Norins almost clutched it though, and that is probably the closest 4 versus 4 fight that we've seen all day.
Okay, so now we're going to give the regional record, right? 2 chicken dinners for Thailand, 2 chicken dinners for Vietnam. So Unicorn Venom is from Vietnam. So now it's still again these 2 regions showing their power, their strength inside of the PUBG tournament.
Yeah, and also looking at all these different teams, we see they all have their very own unique style of play overall, where by now we know the identity of T5 is to really play with the strength of numbers to be able to get that consistent result. Whereas when you look at UV, sure, they were picking up a lot more fights in these early rounds that they played through. This time, when they were to strike S4, you see them being so deadly. The coordination was beautiful.
Yeah, the coordination was definitely on point. I mean, the way they push, the way they open up as well, they know that they have numbers in their strength, and despite them knowing that, oh, the other opponent has a decent amount of people, but they're still confident enough to open up and coordinate really, really well on how to wrap things up. So that was, I mean, these are the best 16 teams inside this tournament, so we can expect that they are all well coordinated, but it's just sometimes, because they're all so good, they cancel out each other.
Yeah, I think end of the day, it's really down to some of all these individual prowess as well. We see brilliance coming in from players like Jacob, and then we saw that in Norins as well, and that can actually reap as much returns as it gets. And in this spectacle all around, look at Unicorn Venom, 11 total frags inside of Arangala, and I think this is a huge statement for a team that may have struggled in Miramar. This is their turf.
Yes, and Unicorn Venom, they are a LCQ team. So don't look down on the LCQ teams, ladies and gentlemen. They are here for a reason, and the only Vietnamese team at number 1, like 2, 3, 4, 5 is from the Thai region. Then you see a Cerberus Esports there. But you can't think about it. Archangel Predator. As far as I could recall, they are always on page number 1 in every match.
Yeah, overall, based on statistics as well, this is definitely a team that has been gelled together for so long, especially when you have veterans like Nan as well as LG and Bots to be the core members to still be playing inside the team. They know how exactly to really handle each respective phase, where we definitely seen them being able to draw even more heading into the late game, where you see the trades go through. They can pick 4v4s very, very well. The only time that we do see them actually losing out on trades is where more than 2 teams is involved.
Yeah, and that's good, but at least if you go out, you still manage to trade it back.
Yeah.
So you don't go out empty-handed. Speaking about going out empty-handed, no team in this round gets a 0. Everyone gets something out of this round. But this is where it all matters, right? The total leaderboard. So right now, T5 is still up there and they have a 13-point gap as compared to Made in Thailand in number 2. So we can see them slightly pulling off, but 30-point difference, one round could still switch it. Attack all around, still without any placement points, but they get all their points from kill points.
Yeah, and fair enough to say, inside of this Erangel round, they did not yield any form of points. So I can see where the struggle is at, where, of course, you're not going to get any placement points by bowing out early, but even the trades, not favoring them at all. And who does it really better from what I've been able to see is the Expendables. Look at that. 7 placement points, and where are they currently sitting? Number 4. So it's the same form of approach that the Expendables is going for, except that they just trade better.
Yeah, and obviously they got more kill points, so that's how they total out the number. And the difference is not that far between them and even like Made in Thailand and number 2, only 3 points difference and 16 points difference from the top spot. And we still have a lot more games to go. We got like 21 more matches to go. So that number 1 spot, I believe it can still change.
Yeah, and at least for tonight, there's only one more map for these teams to worry about. And after that, they can basically take their rest, and tomorrow onwards they will focus on 5 rounds. But from what we saw so far, the progression out of these many teams are starting to show, and of course some teams will have certain bad days as well. So of course hoping to see that they will be able to get as much as they can on the final round of Erangel, and I think by then things will look better for their team.
Well, whether things will look better for some of these teams in the final round, let's find out later on. But that later on will be after this break, ladies and gentlemen. So do not go anywhere. You don't want to miss out on all these actions. My name is Sir Cloud, together with the amazing Contra. This is the PUBG Asia Super Cup 2023 Summer. See you guys after this break.
Welcome to the Update 23.2, where you can now revive your teammates, transport knocked out allies onto vehicles, and engage in a new social feature, the clan system. Let's dive right in. First on the menu is the brand new revival system. To reduce frustration during squad play and promote diverse strategies in normal matches, you will now be able to revive your fallen teammates. Just retrieve the blue chip from their death boxes and register it at one of the transmission towers scattered across the map, or through a wireless transmitter item obtained through farming. They can then rejoin the match via a respawn plane that flies once per phase. Note that this feature is available only in normal and custom matches on Erangel, Miramar, and Destin. Next, we're introducing a new DBNO feature, allowing you to carry knocked out teammates and place them inside vehicles. This addition provides players with an alternative way to evade danger without having to only abandon or revive your teammates. We are also finally ready to unveil our new clan system. Create or join a clan, play matches, and earn XP to level up your clan. As your clan levels up, you will be able to upgrade your clan tags. Not only that, but you can also earn a VP boost by playing with your clanmates. Definitely worth. And as always, make sure to check out the patch notes for all the details. Update 23.2 has plenty more in store this month, including a DBNO rebalance, general lobby UX UI improvements, a slight buff to the Ace32, and more. Starting with this update, prepare to become your team's hero, transport teammates to safety, and establish your own PUBG Battlegrounds clan for double the excitement. And we'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
The latest game from Krafton and 5min Lab. Fast pace and full intense PvP action brawler game. Use your best combo to send your opponent to the lobby. Select your legends and be the winner. Pick the mode that suits your fighting style, from 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store and Steam. Let's be legends today!
Welcome to the Update 23.2, where you can now revive your teammates, transport knocked out allies onto vehicles, and engage in a new social feature, the clan system. Let's dive right in. First on the menu is the brand new revival system. To reduce frustration during squad play and promote diverse strategies in normal matches, you will now be able to revive your fallen teammates. Just retrieve the blue chip from their death boxes and register it at one of the transmission towers scattered across the map, or through a wireless transmitter item obtained through farming. They can then rejoin the match via a respawn plane that flies once per phase. Note that this feature is available only in normal and custom matches on Erangel, Miramar, and Destin. Next, we're introducing a new DBNO feature, allowing you to carry knocked out teammates and place them inside vehicles. This addition provides players with an alternative way to evade danger without having to only abandon or revive your teammates. We are also finally ready to unveil our new clan system. Create or join a clan, play matches, and earn XP to level up your clan. As your clan levels up, you will be able to upgrade your clan tags. Not only that, but you can also earn a BP boost by playing with your clanmates. Definitely worth it. And as always, make sure to check out the patch notes for all the details. Update 23.2 has plenty more in store this month, including a DBNO rebalance, general lobby UX UI improvements, a slight buff to the Ace 32, and more. Starting with this update, prepare to become your team's hero, transport teammates to safety, and establish your own PUBG Battlegrounds clan for double the excitement. And we'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
The latest game from Krafton and 5min Lab. Fast pace and full intense PvP action brawler game. Use your best combo to send your opponent to the lobby. Select your legends and be the winner. Pick the mode that suits your fighting style, from 1v1, 2v2 to Battle Royale. Available to download and play free on Play Store, App Store and Steam. Let's be legends today!
Welcome to the Update 23.2, where you can now revive your teammates, transport knocked out allies onto vehicles, and engage in a new social feature, the clan system. Let's dive right in. First on the menu is the brand new revival system. To reduce frustration during squad play and promote diverse strategies in normal matches, you will now be able to revive your fallen teammates. Just retrieve the blue chip from their death boxes and register it at one of the transmission towers scattered across the map, or through a wireless transmitter item obtained through farming. They can then rejoin the match via a respawn plane that flies once per phase. Note that this feature is available only in normal and custom matches on Erangel, Miramar, and Destiny. Next, we're introducing a new DBNO feature, allowing you to carry knocked out teammates and place them inside vehicles. This addition provides players with an alternative way to evade danger without having to only abandon or revive your teammates. We are also finally ready to unveil our new clan system. Create or join a clan, play matches, and earn XP to level up your clan. As your clan levels up, you will be able to upgrade your clan tags. Not only that, but you can also earn a BP boost by playing with your clanmates. Definitely worth it. And as always, make sure to check out the patch notes for all the details. Update 23.2 has plenty more in store this month, including a DBNO rebalance, general lobby UX UI improvements, a slight buff to the Ace 32, and more. Starting with this update, prepare to become your team's hero, transport teammates to safety, and establish your own PUBG Battlegrounds clan for double the excitement. And we'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
Thank you for joining us here on the PUBG Asia Super Cup 2023 Summer. My name's Contra, and this is Sir Cloud, as we've been casting throughout the entirety of Day 1, and now to the final game of the evening before we approach Day 2. But so far, things have been looking great for some of all these teams, especially for T5 that has remained consistent for the past couple of rounds. Of course, thank you Crafted, as well as everybody that's been supporting the PUBG esports ecosystem, and of course, going back into the past round, that was so explosive. We saw Day Trade going up against UV in such a great spectacle.
Yeah, UV. I mean, it was a good, well-coordinated chicken dinner, and they got a good spot as well, and they defended whenever teams wanted to crash in onto their compound. So looking good so far for UV, but then again, this is a marathon. PUBG is a marathon, so you gotta keep consistent throughout, and that's going to be the challenge for all the teams.
That's right, and we're looking at NGE already having, some of the players feeling a little bit more of an exhaustion, especially, it may feel like, hey, a round goes by so swiftly, but when you're in the game, when you're putting every single energy and focus, it can really sap you out. But of course, they should be up and ready after taking that 10 minutes break. So one final hurdle for tonight to see whether if New Generation Esports could actually get even more return. They did yield quite a significant amount of points back in Erangel. Let's see if they can do it now against an on-form Day Trade Gaming.
I like how Day Trade Gaming, they all have the same hairstyle. Yeah, same color. Coordination, yeah, same color, same hairstyle, and they'll be looking to come back up because before the start of the previous Erangel, they were at number 16, and with the second place finish, it's at least a decent boost for them. It's just that right now, the team to beat is going to be Theaton 5 or T5. This team is currently at number 1 spot with a 13-point gap with number 2 with the second place team. So we'll see if they'll be able to hang on to it by the end of this round.
That's right. Final flight for tonight here on Grand Finals Day 1. And ladies and gents, once again, if you guys are tuning in, go ahead and cheer on for your favorite team out there. This time around with the flight taking off on this southern corner of Sonoscom Island, it does give a lot more access for a couple of teams to move right in. And we're already seeing 4 teams, the Expendables, Archangel Predator, Purple Moon, as well as E36, to be within that southern shore.
This time we see 3 teams inside the military base island, but okay, this is going to be an early skirmish
Savior's
between
got
EA
nothing.
and GX. Okay, yeah, nothing.
Oh boy.
Oh no. Against the M16.
And this being another iteration of what went on earlier, we'll continuously see E-Arena hoping to challenge the rest of GX, and just seeing what went on with Savior right there. He's still looking for a little bit more loot. He did pick up what I do believe is a barrel in hand, and for now, running into the shoreline and eventually getting himself into safety. Thankfully, he managed to get clipped off.
Okay, but they still run the risk though, because they don't have much space to go. They're pretty much pushed onto the outside of Ferry Pier. And look who's waiting on the other side. We have KM99 as well, so pretty much we can say that GX is surrounded.
Yeah, they trade from the corners of Primos all the way into Quarry. They're also covering those grounds.
Okay, so with that, I don't know how they're going to get away from this, so it's going to be a bit hard for them. Looking over again at how their position is at. Okay, so this position, with considering that Ferry Pier is also within the circle, I guess it's going to be another standoff between these 2 teams, as per usual, as per how we normally predict it. If it's outside the circle, then yeah, they are forced to fight. But if not, I think they'll hold on for now.
Yeah, CC's got the rooftops for him to eventually get a little bit of angles off of these players of GEX. It's going to be on the lower end of Ferry Pier. And for now, GX will have to find a way to crack through this really offensive position that E-Arena is having against them. As for Archangel Predator, already starting off with those early rotations to get into Phase 1. 0.5 with the Roaring Engines, not going to be phased at all, as they will have a little bit more grounds to cover across the farm areas down south. So around the open plains here of Gatka, there's going to be a lot of room for all these teams to play around. As for P5, this is their usual playground, as they always rock around the sector. So consider them to have another smooth cruise for now.
Oh, okay, so the fight's happening here between Cerberus Esports and Archangel Predator. Shots fired out by Tycho. Tycho gets onto Alex, but Algebra trades it back with 1. So it's going to be 1-1 between these 2 teams, at least for now.
Alex still surviving though, but I'm not sure if this is going to be the right place to actually get the pickup done. Molotov now being thrown right under where Tycon is meeting a little bit more of a challenge with only 1 bullet tacked on towards his body. But for the time being, Archangel Predator still under fire. Nan, next one to be tapped out, and it's Tycon yet again.
Okay, so Archangel Predator only left with Evil Patrick and Algebra unless he can pick up Nan. But Nan seems to be out in the open area, so I guess he's being used as a bait to a certain extent. But for Cerberus Esports, they cannot stay there too long, because look at the amount of teams around them.
At this time, they are pushing for the head, and they know that Archangel Predator doesn't have the numbers to work with, but they have to tread lightly though. The rest of Archangel Predator, despite them being a little bit far apart, Tycon, once he's getting picked off, there's not going to be all too much of room for them to actually do all too much from Cerberus Esports. As you take a look at the angles, Cerberus coming in from 4 different angles to try to pin them out.
Okay, here we go, Cerberus Esports. They managed to arrive in this compound, but they lost Yimkut in the process, unfortunately. So, despite it being like Phase 1, right, but we still see like messy fights all around. So, a lot of teams probably had the same mindset of like traveling through the same routes, and that just happens. But coming back to Ferry Pier, we can see on the mini screen that these 2 teams are just locked in, as what we kind of expected.
Yeah, and I think the grand idea that these 2 teams have is to book the direct center of Phase 1, which is why they actually went into this early fight, which we saw Archangel Predator was just hoping to pass through these corners. It was Yimka that unleashed this flurry of exchanges, and eventually they were on the receiving end instead with Typhon's flank. Meanwhile, with Enter Forest being so far away, I think this is a sensible idea where they're going for the emergency pickup. Is driving past those bridges on the Sonoska Island will be deadly. So let's see, where do they land though? Starlord and the rest of the team have ample of options available.
Yeah, this is where the meta kind of changes, right? Like normally we will see like the bridges in Military Base Island will always be the choke points. There will be teams there, but because of the emergency pickup, it's not going to be an issue anymore. So that is one example. There will be tons of examples as we go along as well. So yeah, I guess that really changes a lot of how the teams would want to park themselves, and especially like Purple Moon Esports. But because Thunder is all alone here, I don't think he wants to reveal himself too much.
Yeah, at least knowing that there is a few teams that will be onto a certain quarter over onto the west side is gonna further prep themselves ahead on how they approach the situation later on. There is no need for those points for Purple Moon. They're not usually the provokers in the early phase of the game. As for attack all around, it's an absolute different story. Whatever they sense, they would just unleash bullets to give a little bit more of the pressure. And usually a certain different region would actually do exactly the same. The moment that you see a team unleash that pressure, see how do they really respond to all these actions that's being drawn against them. And if you have managed to draw enough, whether if they end up picking a fight, you have the advantage first and foremost. Or even if they trail off, maybe the vehicles will be damaged a little bit.
Yeah, so that's the thing that they kind of trade, right? But speaking about trading, MITH looks like Rogue is down, but not sure if Exquisite can actually trade it back. Backups coming in on the way for Purple Moon Esports, and we can see that Barbo is opening up the flanks on the right. They want to secure this kill and probably get more out of this fight.
Yeah, Purple Moon is just having Fluky to be having a little bit more of a drive-by. He spots out one member off, and Rogue will be pinned off. Four boats will be able to drop that nade right through the front, but Exquisite is getting a little bit more of that pressure. And Tanawat, look at that huge wraparound. And Purple Moon, they have ideas on how to take this one forward. Exquisite just couldn't really seek out Thunders.
Oh, that is Purple Moon Esports. They are definitely in the mood now to get more kills. Try those long-range shots onto the vehicle, but Darkmans is down. Oh, Darkmans. He went on his vehicle, up on his feet, tries to counter fire the Thunders. Thunders goes down now. Looks like they want more, but it's going to be 2v2.
And Jacobs lands directly in front of two members of Purple Moon, and they turn it all around. Jacobs knocks him down, and this is where Main Talent came so close, but Purple Moon with their final member, Fluky, closes it out against the brethren from MITH.
Well, it just shows that no one is safe, right? Despite you getting a chicken dinner, doesn't mean that you're going to go all the way. But now one call is going all the way to secure this kill, going into the compound. Looks like Tycon making it one to Chibirik, and Chibirik get another one, and Chibirik goes down. Tycon is the one to take him out, but Tycon be counterfired upon by Shimoy, and Shimoy will be the one to finish off Tycon.
So many of all these engages in this early game. It's only phase one. And look at that. There's casualties on at least 5 teams. And some of them are still in the midst of battle. Speaking of which, another one picked up by Q Confirm as Sylvia is the first one to be taken out from E36. And that's happening all across the fields of Gatka.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams, maybe they want the center of Gatka. That's why we see a lot of fights happening. Q Confirm as well has NGE up on top of this hill. So it looks like something they need to deal with. At the same time, E36 on the other side. So they're kind of surrounded with at least 2 other teams.
Yeah, it really feels like we're already by phase 5 at the moment because there's so little coverage when it comes down to how Gatka as a terrain is for most part, where a lot of all these angles are opened up and you see all these exchanges, whether it's close quarter to wrap up very, very quickly because all these small shacks doesn't really provide as much cover.
Yeah, and that's where Q Confirm immediately lets go of that area and moves on to another. Hopefully they'll be able to arrive safely considering there are only 2 players left. And now between E36 and NGE, both of these teams, I believe they're on the outside of the circle still.
true enough. And I guess there's not really much of a rush for some of these teams. They could play it as slow as they want to. Day Trade Gaming, now in the middle of it all, got to make very firm decisions. Meanwhile, as much as QC has only got one memory, fine Star-Lord, and Enter Force is the one that is taken out instead.
Oh, Vanguard, beautiful shot there to Deva, taking him out. And now, look at the circle again. Very Pier is right smack in the middle of it, but this time around, GX is the only one inside of Fairy Pier. EA has moved up to the high ground, and I think that's a better location as compared to being inside of Fairy Pier itself, because the high ground gives you a lot of information about what's happening around you.
True enough, and I'm really surprised that E-Arena as well as GEX did not continue the fight, where we saw GX were also pinned out on some of all these positions, but GEX, this was also their home ground that they've been playing across, so they've given enough respect. E-Arena was happy to oblige and say, hey, we'll trade with you. We'll take Quarry instead. Now, these two teams do have a lot of all these areas of play that can benefit them into the late game so long as they hold out. But E-Arena, as much as that position is superior, that's also a point where many teams like to contest. So E-Arena needs to be ready for that.
Okay, Leon's, is he ready for this? Because he's the last man for Q Confirm. Right now, Leon's just traveling across a couple of other teams, praying that he will survive this, but now he's in a decent open area. Being shot at by Aisaki from afar. The shots do not land yet, probably thanks to his vehicle as well, being fully covered. But now Leon's has to get out of his vehicle. The vehicle's currently smoked up, and Leon's finds a small shack.
Oh man, if he can hide in the ditch, he will for now, but the shack is more than enough. But hopefully, Haisaki does not push through, but I won't say the same about Zed. He's got a plethora of options available. He's driving up the hill to regroup with the rest of GE, and GE wants Fairy Pier, and this is where they have to contest with the rest of global esports at Zed.
Okay, let's see if they really want to push it in at this point, because Cerberus is very big for them to reinforce this fight. On the other side, we have Zess. Day Trade Gaming Flash steals it away, and Zess will be taken out. So that's going to be another point for Day Trade Gaming, who's on the rise now.
Yeah, Cerberus Esports, they started off today with a high note, really clinching in a chicken dinner of their own and plenty of frags to go along with. But later today, a lot of their efforts didn't really give them as much as they would like to, especially now that they are battling into the middle of the zone, but they are only hiding inside the shack, so they can only draw as much as attention as required. But I'm not certain if they could basically hold it into the late stage of the game, where majority of the teams now being around this field of Gatka, where it's just an absolute shooting range. But other than that, of course, there is gonna be a bird's eye view for Tier 5 and Rossitet. Trying to nail them down from afar, and that's where Cerberus Esports gets this huge gate crash party landed right in by Purple Moon.
You know what, to a certain extent, it feels like Cerberus Esports, since they got the chicken dinner, the following rounds have been quite...
disastrous?
Yeah, underwhelming, I must say, for Cerberus Esports. So right now, because of that, they are at least in the current charge at number 7, and other teams below them can still catch up onto them.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to actually see the trajectory of some teams overall. Cerberus, we know them to be really feisty 4v4 battlers, but when you pit them right in the middle of an open field, sometimes they are left defenseless. And I guess like by then, it's really on how some of this decision making could actually be done a little bit better, and you could already see the bodies on the ground from the rest of Cerberus Esports. Purple Moon taken over control of the shack and built a fortress with all those vehicles that they've already had parked around, so it eventually becomes a lot more fortified as compared to what Cerberus Esports have set up before.
Yeah, Purple Moon Esports. I'm still kind of impressed with the fact that they have a lot of firepower still, bringing it on from last week's group and also the LCQ stages. And right now they are the kill leader with 5 kills, and well, they were the ones who take out MITH early on, one of the powerhouses team so far, the second place team in fact. And now for Genius Esports, looks like we have Cloris moving towards EA though, but not sure if it knows that someone's there.
I think like they're already checking up ahead, getting these flashes prepared. Cloris propels forward, but only has 14 health to work with right now. Yuta gets tagged up, so the advances coming from Cloris will not yield any returns. And that's just two members being shut out very swiftly so by E-Arena.
There you go. Larix will be happy to get those kills for E-Arena. So it's going to be 2 kills for E-Arena, leaving Sir T all alone for Genius Esports. But now he has GX to deal with, and 1v4. It's, well, we all know the result.
Yeah, this is just pretty brutal on how they've actually crashed out the game. And because of GEX and E-Arena's positioning, they were forced into this form of choke point when they drive past the driveway, and I guess eventually somebody's got to give. And right now, GEX will have different challenges of their own because that circle did not end up in very pure. Eventually, both EA will also have to move up into circle, and we're bound to see these two teams collide yet again, but now also joined by the Expendables.
And this is where EA played it smart, right? Like they let go of Fairy Pier, they go up to the high ground just on top of Fairy Pier, and when the circle shifts to this kind of circle, then they can kind of gatekeep GX from coming in. So the blue will push GX first, and when GX shows itself, it's going to be 3 points for EA. We're just waiting for them, and in my thought process is that they would have thought of this like a few steps ahead. That's why they're there.
Indeed, and eventually yielded them turns by a significant mark. Now we're seeing a little bit more challenges up ahead against one call where MBK has managed to take out Chibirit. Both teams looking for a spot into the circle here about a corner of phase for Jaxi, trying to hold them out. Zapao goes 1-1. And damage being done, and Jaxi nails him to the ground.
There you go, Sapao taken out by Jaxi from the lower ground, and disadvantage for one call to get into the circle. Look at the rest of the members of one call, they take advantage, and right now they're in front of UV.
Still he gets a little bit of vision, but shots being fired sharp from Shimoy, and he's already bleeding out on his own. And UV, as much as they got that chicken dinner, they're falling like flies. Jaxi hunting it out, but Jaxi gets knocked.
Oh, that was a close one there. Jaxi almost got it, but we got Chimoy still coming in from behind. Chimoy, can he arrive in time? And it's going to be the nade coming in from a trick to take down MBK, and that is it for UV.
Wow, one call esports, just look at their prowess inside of Angle. For 2 rounds in a row, we've seen so much out of this team of Indonesia. Now the redeployment have just set right in and straight into the crosshairs of NGE. And GEX, they may have escaped the wrath of E-Arena, but now into another Tiger's Den.
New generation esports. Still kind of spread out. There's only got multiple angles to work with. Wenger taking one of the shacks here. He has a vehicle right in front of him. Still can be used for the later stage of the game if needed. But for the rest of GX, they somehow managed to get into the circle.
Yeah, and of course it came with the cost of Leo as well. The moment that Leo docks first, they know that this area is not going to be safe, and therefore the rest of GEX decides to go into the nearest shack, and that actually sets them up perfectly into the middle somewhat. So that's a good take. And also for the fact that Leo popped a couple of all these smokes into the opponent's NGE, that denies a little bit more of that pressure off. Jaxi tries to dance it off, 13 HP, and Flash, he's also pretty low, both sides needing to reset.
Oh, that was a close one there for Jaxi. Flash moves into the circle. Daytrade Gaming, quite spread out though, but looks like they have the strategy of like, okay, we try to get as big of a perimeter as possible, but they have one call to deal with behind, and obviously Purple Moon Esports in front of them, so they need to clear the ones behind first. That should be a priority.
Oh boy, lots of names here on the board. Q confirmed, lasting all along, but Leon Q will eventually bow out. T5 finding at least one in return, but needing to actually get some exchanges done against E-Arena, who's still on that quarry forest that we've last seen them, where as much as there is a little bit more of that zone control, it will require E-Arena to also look for the spots heading into Phase 6, but that's the least of their concern for now. Now, long-range shots being fired from all across, and we're seeing one call being the bigger benefactors where they were just farming those numbers from those high elevated hills.
Here we go. I think most of the teams should be in the circle by now, so it's more of like holding their ground. And the fact that Shaka Field is an open area, long range coming for Jaxi, almost to get out Flash. Jaxi, Flash, still resetting himself though. He needs to do this quickly as Jaxi is getting closer and closer.
Jaxi now pulling on the ground, hoping to surprise Flash, whereas he's being distracted by all the other members of One Call Esports. Daytrade Gaming having Flash to rely on. He's got a AUG in the hand. Meanwhile, exchanges coming in from KM as well as Van that will annihilate members from NGE. Now, Jaxi reveals himself, but the damage is still being done. Flash takes him out.
Jaxi missed and Flash took advantage of that. And Jaxi will be eliminated by Flash. There's going to be another point for Daytrade Gaming. Daytrade Gaming now has Belmoth overlooking Purple Moon Esports, who's in the shack. If only he can pull off a nade that can reach into the shack, that will be one nade to rule the entire Purple Moon Esports.
Yeah, that is a really difficult position to be at for Purple Moon if there were ever to be any form of defense to be primed right in. But thankfully, there isn't any coming in their way, and they've already built that fortress right outside. It's pretty hard to penetrate, even if there were to be members to be running directly into that location. AAA, the last we saw of them was very early on, and Skirt makes himself known by taking one more member off of One Call. And now as we zoom right in, GEX, Purple Moon, as well as T5 has the leverage of the circle right directly at the center. And we're trying to see how TE E-Arena is going to approach this, because they are a little further out. E-Arena, as much as they are a few steps away, there is a little bit of pressure coming in from Daytrade as well.
Okay, here we go. Daytrade Gaming. They're still quite spread out though. Now the circle has shrunk. Purple Moon Esports is still pretty much in the center of it, but it's only that one little shack. If one team can come in, tosses a nade inside, that's it. One Call is starting to make that move as well. They're trying to stop Daytrade Gaming from coming in. The Daytrade Gaming, oh man, we can say that they must win the fight against One Call after this.
Yeah, One Call have dropped too many members on their own pursuit, and this is where things get a little bit more challenging for the Indonesians. Turton 5 now having only the UAZ to actually work with, as well as the Shack. Rositet hoping to land one more blow upon E-Arena as the rest of these members are driving right by. He's got a primal grenade as the rest of E-Arena have chose to stop right into the middle of nowhere. And Rositet does connect the nade onto KM99.
Oh, KM99 knocked down, and now Dan Couture off, looking for more. Double knockdown, and that eliminates the entire One Call.
2 taps was all it takes, and it both connects onto One Call, and that closes it out for the Indonesians. Top 8 finish, but ONC, they've already got the highest ranks thus far.
Okay, here we go. Now AAA is in the house going up against Daytrade Gaming. Balmov is right in front of the crosshair of Skirt, but he doesn't keep focus onto there. Still aware of his surroundings, and AAA, they are in the circle, but on the other side, we have T5 going up against another opponent from TE.
Rositet having some little help to work with. Those random grenades are really chunking out his health bars, whereas T5, they're stuck in this corner, and the Expendables unleashing wrath upon him, and Daytrade, they got those members of E-Arena down at 7, whereas the Expendables hoping to actually seek the rest of T5 out. Rositet still goes in for an exchange, finds Delwyn in return.
Okay, here we go. The fight's happening here. The Expendables going up against T5. Rositet coming out of his shack. It's right by smoke. Stop his vision. If only he knew earlier.
And he couldn't really seek it right through. Tasawat is just going to be camping right inside. Now it's going to be a 1 versus 1 between these two. Duck Hughes, he's got so little to work with, and now the pushes are out. Duck Hughes, he's got to find a way to end this streak. 6 HP left, and he's still dancing on his feet. Hassan over to AUG. He does not really find a blow just yet, and now in the middle of the open, he will eventually challenge, and the Expendables are out.
Oh, that was a close one there for Hatsawat. He missed the first shot. Luckily, the second shot did connect. And now Purple Moon Esports sieged down by Daytrade Gaming. Daytrade Gaming getting closer and closer. But right now we can see that Belmont, he doesn't have a nade. He only has that one nade.
And right now, resources are low. 1 first aid kit and 8 bandages is all that Belmont has in the tank. Whereas Fluky, he's got a lot of resources. If anyone pushes through, look at that 3 Molotov that he could basically throw out. So this could actually be a bait. But Belmont, he found the nade on the ground. This could be devastating. Purple Wolf's got to get out, but that nade did not get right into the window.
Yeah, it bounced off, unfortunately. But fortunately for Purple Moon Esports, of course, they trade gaming out. Puchiris is now being shot at from multiple angles. Belmont will be naded back down by Thunders. Looks like it's a nade for nade.
And this is just a stronghold for Purple Moon. As much as Fluky is just baiting them out, they trade, they got shot out, and Fluky lands it all through that split-second window.
Oh, T5 now on the outside of the circle will need to come in, but they're all on foot. No vehicles for T5. Hasawat from the outside of the circle. He sees TEX. Shots fired out by Hasawat with SLR, but he chooses to move and prioritizing the circle instead.
So much spacing coming in from T5, and they just blow them all out. Rossited has got one cooking up.
That is the nade. That is the nade that is needed to take out the entire Purple Moon Esports. And it came from T5 with 9 kills so far on their name. And now with this shack, well, it's a good place to chill for now, but the numbers still favor AAA.
And AAA, this is the furthest they've gone here in day one, where we were saying they have never prioritized positioning points. They've never really found those rank and always bowing out early, taking out fights after fights. This is where it's their time to shine. If they need to fight, this is their playground right now, and they're already taking at least 40% of the sector. They could just keep their eye out for the rest of GEX as well as T5. But today, it has been T5's day. How many times we see them in the top 4, top 5 position, and mainly landing them at the very least second to place finish.
Yes, let's see, because we got still 3 teams. Let's hold our horses for who might get the chicken dinner. We might get a surprise from T5, we won't know just yet, because right now the circle is in the middle of all these teams. But anyway, AAA, they still have the man advantage, and that's going to be huge.
True enough, at GEX, they have gone so close to the chicken dinner early on, back in what I believe to be Tego, where they were in top 3 or top 2. And this is probably one of their best chances here to at least claw their way up into the standings. The last we checked, coming in from the side of GEX, they were in 10th position, and with just one full swing, even if they do end up in second place, they should be able to climb into a top 7 at the very least.
Okay, yes, it should be good for them, but even better for T5, because right now all the other closer competitions to them have been eliminated. They can pull away in terms of overall points.
And on top of that, look at them go. Already having 9 eliminations here in this map of Erangel to close off the night. And of course, there's more to be added to the board by the end of this round. T5, they just knew how to get into the final zone by hook or by crook. And now, I guess it's just a little bit of a standstill, mostly not done in the hands of Savior. Unleashes a bullet onto Excaluzia. That draws a little bit more of a signal warning, but that's all that they can get. And speaking of which, Hatsawat, he finds Excaluzia instead. So GX, they gotta find a way to quickly snatch that one, and Savior does the trick.
Oh, there you go. AAA falling apart now. The long range coming in from Savior. Beautiful. Up chin now, they're starting to move in as well. GX, they're on the other side. T5, they don't want to butt in just yet because they know they don't have the numbers advantage. They are having the least numbers of manpower for now, but Rosidet wants to take the preemptive strike, tosses out the utility on the other side. Can he secure anything? But Rosidet counterfired by Skirt.
And it's only down to Hasawat as well. T5, they don't really have much time to rescue Rositet for now. GEX, they see this as a grand opportunity for them to secure the chicken dinner, especially now with the pressure of the zone closing against attack all around. There is a flash available, and it seems like it's being tossed towards the side of T5. No more grenades though, so they will have to manually push this one ahead, and I believe that might just be Nate that they're looking out for. Rustin did get that picked up, but he's still under threat.
Yeah, looks like a GX having good control of the tweet at this moment. But let's see what might happen as Rositek goes down. And here we have it, T5 down to last man.
And they're calling up ahead, and Xavier finds him! And he also gets the angle, he gets double! Is it gonna be it? And yes, it will! Global Esports exit closes off the final chicken dinner in Erangel.
Well, the page 2 team getting up onto page 1 after this chicken dinner. And again, it's a different team getting a chicken dinner,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this
bareng-bareng
time
lah.
around it's neither from Vietnam or Thailand. It's going to be GEX getting it on the board for them. Feeling pretty good to end the night with a chicken dinner.
All smiles for the boys that have worked so hard for the past 5 rounds, and GEX, we saw some of the struggles in these early rounds, especially in Miramar, and then you see them getting more and more in return ever since Tego. And GEX, the way that they've been able to proactively hunt out, and in the early game, we have expected them to go gun blazing against Irina. They took a slow approach, and we saw them taking that emergency pickup to get into the field of Gatka.
Yeah, they travel quite a distance, right? When you kind of think about it, that is where the meta really changes. If you have an emergency pickup, it really changes the game. I think out of all the changes that has been implemented, really, the emergency pickup has
It's a game changer.
Yeah, it's the biggest game changer of all.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that it's now in the esports circuit, and with that, there's just a plethora of options for you to move around the map. And with that being said, it did come in with a little bit of casualty because they lost Leo by approaching with the emergency pickup. Once they did dock, they lose that one. But look at how firmly they've held onto that position for the most part. And then the other team that really popped off, at least on the early half, was one call from Indonesia, where we see many of these fights were won on top of this hill.
Yes, this hill really was a bloodbath. I mean, just look at the amount of teams on the minimap. At this point, we got like, what, 4 teams trying to get onto that hill. And it's not because they want that hill, it's because they want to get access into Gatka. And that's pretty much, at this point, especially most of the teams that we saw, they were on foot. So they can't make those long rotations down, south or north of this circle. They have to fight with each other to get in. And the moment they get in, well, other teams are waiting for them.
Yeah, and Puricon 5, they were absolutely outnumbered by the top 3 scenario, but look at how well they've been able to hold their own for most part, especially in these close quarters where some fights look quite unwinnable, but they've held on for so long. Even against teams like Purple Mood that have been fairly consistent even in the past round of Angle, and then you have Savior. This was the flank of the century.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This flank, 2 knockdowns, 3 knockdowns, and chicken dinner in the bag. He is living up, I think. He's the savior of the team.
Yeah, and not only a savior, but the biggest hero of the night, where not many players have got such a grand opportunity. I'm just really surprised that he's managed to crawl so closely to one of those members that we saw, and eventually he just unleashed havoc upon them to really stop and deny that golden opportunity. I'm just left out of words on how beautifully executed that was.
Yeah, that one knockdown, he flicked it to the left, gets another one, and just moved his cursor a little bit to the right, gets the third one, and the rest is history. I mean, everything was on point. All his shots had to be on point. If he misses those shots, they would counter on him. He would get knocked.
Yeah.
So he
Mana
couldn't
sebelumnya
miss
nih,
that time, and everything was done with precision.
Yeah, and that's what we love to see out of all the best of PUBG players across Asia. And this is where you guys also get the chance to also register for the upcoming tournaments as well. So if you guys have the dream of becoming one, you guys can definitely head over to the website to find out a lot more on how you can get your full squad to get more of these dinners and a big chunk of the prize pool if you guys have what it takes to earn it.
Yeah, it's going to be PGS Season 2, and the Open Qualifiers is happening very, very soon, but the registration is up at the end of this month. So you want the link, head on to PUBG Battleground social media, you get the link there. But here we have it, the match table. Oh, we got 2 kills with 15 points.
Wow, Puricon 5, despite bowing out on 3rd place, last we saw them really raking up a truckload of numbers with them, securing 10 kill points instead. So it's kind of like a switcheroo of, a chicken dinner or kill points between them as well as GEX.
Yeah, and actually, if I kind of look at it, right, like we got 4 teams with double digit. I think this is the most number of teams with double digit so far in our day. While on the other end, it's because a lot of points went up. Look at the page 2 team points. At most is 3 points. Then you got 2 points. Then you got 1 point. And obviously, you got 0 point for Genius Esports. It's because all the points have been pulled up. I am impressed with Day Trade Gaming, I think at least for the last 2 rounds, because they're starting to find a consistency and they're coming back up from that number 16 the 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, and for me, I really have put my attention onto one call. Remember how they battled through the first round of Erangel being on top of that hill? They've also racked up quite a number, and once again, Erangel, they're really showing that this is one of the best maps possible. So by tomorrow, if they have got it all figured out, a chicken dinner could be lying in wait perhaps, but when we add everything together, nothing tops Tiraton 5.
Yeah, 23 point gap, that's about an average of about 1 round-ish, 1.5 rounds-ish for gap for T5, currently at number 1. The most kill points is theirs, the most placement points as well. Basically, they're now perfect all around. If you look at the page number 1 as well, the Expendables still sticking to their method of playing this game is that, you know, placement points secondary. Let's go for kill points entirely, and they're coming in second, the second most kill points as compared to all the other teams.
Yeah, and looking at their current position as well, it's also very impressive that despite certain rounds of them bowing out early, like the recent map that is just concluded, Pubg Esports, you see them being consistent, and the Expendables is just 1 point shy of that second spot. And then you have Made in Thailand came in hot on the first 3 rounds, or should I say second round onwards, and then a little bit more of that dip of performance only on the later stages of the game. But I think they've made the best out of it, and with 1 chicken dinner, is send Global Esports Accent from that second page all the way to 5th.
Well, the team with only a single digit enter for 36, unfortunately only 9 points. So they have not broken that just yet. But I believe we will get to see that tomorrow. Pretty sure they will be able to get that point to get a double digit. But of course, before we move further forward, we gotta give highlight to T5 right now. The team at the number 1 spot with a 23 point gap.
Yeah, overall, I think it's just a perfect formula of brains as well as bronze on how this team is basically playing the game, where for most part, you don't really see T5 being all too active for the first 4 phases, and then they've just crawled their way into the most favorable position. They just knew how exactly to work their way into those zones that actually gives them a lot more benefit for an in-game scenario. And that's where from phase 5 onwards, you see them picking numbers after numbers without needing to really draw too much attention to themselves.
And they are a last chance qualifier team. And so far, at least for day number 1, so far they're at number 1 spot. Last chance qualifier, they were at 2nd place finish. Actually, they were at number 1 for most of the rounds in the last chance qualifiers, but at some point NGE overtook them, but it doesn't matter at that point, right? Right now they are still showing that why they deserve to be in the grand finals, going up against all the other giants who directly qualified from the group stages. So T5 looking really good, and their individual players as well. Individually, they're solid.
Yeah, and overall, when you take a look at this T5 squad, majorly consisting of younger players compared to most of the pool of the Thai squad out there, where these guys are the absolute prodigies that have been able to show up for the nation of Thailand.
Yeah, well, again, it's when we talk about PUBG, right? It's always Thailand. Thailand is one of the stronger regions. Same goes for Vietnam as well. And right now, well, representing the Thai region is T5, and they're showing that they are consistent enough to be up there. So looking good so far for T5, despite them having to play the last chance qualifiers. But you know, sometimes you think about it, playing last chance qualifiers, it also allows you to adapt more to the game and the teams around you. So maybe they took that as their advantage.
Yeah, and that it goes to show that they have greater understanding of the level of competition that they're going up against. And of course, the MVP of the day has to be Fluky, because this man that has been playing for the past 5 rounds have always consistently have his name show up on the kill feed for good reasons. On the one dealing most of the damage, as you see, on an average round, he does 2.75, and of course, 14 kills is definitely a good record, and that's basically like what, at the very least, 3 kills per round.
Yeah, almost thereabouts, right? So, as an individual player, I mean, he has been showing up as well. Early on, we saw him clutching out and getting a lot of eliminations for himself as well, and obviously that feeds onto Purple Moon Esports. And Purple Moon Esports, overall as a team, they have a lot of firepower, like what we've seen last week as well. So individual players like him is one of the driving forces for Purple Moon Esports firepower. In fact, they eliminated MITH before, right? And
Besok Kamis ya?
that was an amazing showing for them to eliminate a team who just got a chicken dinner.
That's right, and that was just the recent round of Erngel where these two teams took it all, and Pubg have shown that when it comes to moments that matter, he can actually pull off huge clutches. And not only that, we've seen grand ideas. He's the one going for the flanks. He's the one that really sets the team up. And this man is just built absolutely different. We want to see a lot more coming in from Pubg. And of course, all the other teams that are on board that have been able to really give us such a good show here in day 1.
Yes, and speaking about day 1, our day 1 has ended, ladies and gentlemen, but we have 4 more days to go, 20 more maps before we crown the champions. Can T5 still maintain on the top, or can teams on page number 2 rise up to the occasion and catch up to the number 1 spot instead? That is it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to tune in again tomorrow, same time, same channel, wherever you're watching this. Thank you so much for watching with us. That will be all for us at the Caster Desk. My name is Sir Cloud. Together with the wonderful Contra, we'll be seeing you again in the future. Bye!